How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is tuned in and comfortable. Get your popcorn. I'm basically just doing a mic test as we watch Captain America run this rack.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rail Yard Billiards and Sports Club. We are here tonight to introduce some great players. And so, without further ado, we're going to introduce on our left side right here a 5-time U.S. Open champion, the 2022 and 2023 World Champion, ladies and gentlemen, Shane Van Boeing. And then right here, we have a 2-time and current World 9-ball champion, Feder Gorst. So who is excited to see this match? That's what I'm talking about. We're going to show you a couple of cool things real quick. One on our screen right up here, you're going to be able to see down here there is a generator for the rack generator. If y'all can demonstrate that real quick. There it is. So that is a randomized generator. It's going to show them. They're going to look right back here and see how they're going to rack the balls. Cool little things that we're going to do for y'all tonight. And so we're going to be here for 3 days. But one more time, make a little bit of noise. And if y'all see Kyle, Matt, or Bowie, they are the owners of Rail Yard here and helping us do this. So we look forward to a fantastic time.
And we're off. Day 1, SVB versus Feder Gorst. Racing to 120 10-ball with the Magic Rack. This is Jason Sword, joined by Scott, the Freezer Frost. How are you, Scott?
Good, Jason. I'm excited to be here. Excited to witness this match with the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a show. The match that everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, and these guys are both prepared. We had a little dinner last night. I don't think they ever looked at each other throughout the entire dinner. I was sitting in between them. The tension was palpable.
Oh, I'll tell you this right now. I'm surprised they got Feder to dinner. Eating with the enemy?
Yeah, you could really feel the tension. It was interesting, but the food distracted everybody. I think Shane ate about 32 pounds of meat. This guy can eat.
Full of protein, and he needs it. He's been here practicing all day. Both of them spent, I would say, 90% of their practice time was on the break.
Yeah, and as we all know, that's probably the most important part of this game, and I think that's going to rely on what's to come. I think there's going to be some big shift swings in this match, probably some momentum changes that occur more towards day 2 and 3, but these guys are fresh. I think the adrenaline will be high here early.
And just to kind of give you a little bit of lay of the land here, this is at the Rail Yard Billiards in Louisville, Kentucky. This is a 4 1/4 inch diamond 9-foot table. They are playing 10-ball with the Magic Rack. Racing to 120 overall, so each day it'll be who gets to 40 first. So whoever gets to 40 in day 1 will stop. Then whenever somebody reaches 80 in day 2, we will stop. And then obviously the first person to get to 120 will claim the prize of $100,000, Scott.
Yeah, it's pretty special prize money, and that break that we just saw is pretty special. And that's something that Gorst is going to have to control. He's going to have to take that break away from Van Boening. Shane right now weighing up whether he can go forward or not. I think the lower left corner's impeding the cue ball, so now he's looking to the lower right, now to the lower left. But the 8 and 9 could be a problem.
Yeah, and you're going to see both of these guys. Neither one of them are going to want to do anything defensive after their break because they know holding the table is a huge part of this match. So if there is anything offensive, you definitely will see them take chances.
Yeah, like Jason said, neither one of them want to relinquish control of the table. So it would be surprising to see him play something defensive out of the gate, but that just shows the discipline of Captain America, SVB. And it looks to me like he's playing a defensive shot here using the 8 and 9. He's going to call the right middle. basically a two-way play.
And you got to be feeling really, really good there if you're Federer. First rack out of the gate, might get a jump shot.
Yeah, and this
is tough.
This is what we've talked about, though. If the jump cue comes into play, I think it will over this match, Jason. I think it'll, let's just say 10 times. That's a 20-game swing if Federer wins off the jump cue 10 times, whether it's a defensive play or an offensive play. If he wins the game off that jump cue, well, that's a huge swing in the match.
This is a situation here, Scott. If he's sizing up the kick, if he does take on the kick of the one ball here, he's going to have to do it with some pace because he's going to have to get position on the deuce. This isn't the easiest thing to look at, but it was much better for Gorst to have an opportunity to even play in this rack.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not entertaining the jump due to the position of the 8 and 9. They're so far away from the cue ball. You can't control the cue ball mid-air from that distance. So he's looking at a one-rail kick. I don't believe Shane wanted that one to end up over the side.
No doubt about it. This isn't a bargain, though. He's really close to that long rail. This isn't the easiest kick. And like I said, he had to hit it with a little pace in order to give himself an opportunity to get back to the deuce.
Yeah, he wanted to shorten that up a little bit. That's what Jason's talking about with the pace, kind of digging down to the cue ball to bend it a little bit. Just quite didn't get it on it. Pretty good opener here for SVB.
And I'll tell you what, the conditions, we'll be talking about it. The conditions will obviously change because we have a ton of people in the crowd here. The table is pretty close to the door, and it does have an air conditioner unit or air conditioner duct above it. So you're going to see the table change throughout the 3 days. Obviously, these two guys are unbelievable at making adjustments, but when the rails become bouncy, it becomes very, very tricky, even for the top-level players to adjust.
Yeah, and that's correct, Jason. I've played a pretty big match on this table with Federer a couple of years ago, and the table will change. They have to make the adjustment literally on the fly. It will change right before their very eyes, and it will change quickly. But these two, the best in the world at making those adjustments, like Jason just said. And I like the way he played that, coming in towards the 2. Knew he was always going to get a good line on it.
And it is fairly new cloth. I think the table got recovered 2 weeks ago. It has not seen a ton of play, Scott. There's some locals here that play a bank ring game, and I think they're the only ones that have been on the table other than the 2 players here today. So it's very new, but it is kind of wet. It is definitely sticky. I think the players agreed to clean the balls after every 20 racks.
Makes sense. I think it should be done often in almost every tournament due to the fan base and humidity and how things change in the room. There's nothing wrong with that. Just wants to come back an inch or 2. Four and a quarter inch pockets, playing with aramith balls, best ball in the business, like Jason just mentioned. Fairly new cloth, a couple weeks old. It is the Simonis 860, also the best in the business.
Yeah, really the best conditions here, honestly. If you think about putting up 50,000 and you were going to pick the conditions to play on, you definitely want the aramith balls. You want to play on the diamond table, and you want the Simonis cloth. I think all top-level pros would agree with that. And SVB looking like he's cruising to the first rack here. Take his first lead of the match.
Yeah, and something we did notice, I'm sure everybody at home noticed this, Shane breaking from the back rail. He's feeling good with it, got a good pop, and he does take game number 1. Like Jason said. And Jason, forgive me, and folks at home, forgive me, but Kyle, the owner, Kyle Ferguson, the owner of the pool room, has done me a great favor in allowing me to get a few sponsors, and throughout this match I'll be promoting these sponsors because their businesses have something to do with pool, and driving some traffic to their sites is a great way to generate business in the industry. It also is how I'm getting paid, saving the owner a little room to spend money in other places.
That's no fair, Scott. I didn't get any sponsors, man.
Well, you don't need them, Jason.
I might.
You don't
if it's
need
on the
'em.
outcome
You
of the
play
match.
too good.
Oh, man, I don't play good enough.
And there you notice the rack generator, right? The 139 up top, the 4 and 5 on the corners. Pretty cool. That's going to be a completely different pattern every game. What's interesting to me is Shane's found this spot back here off the back rail. I would bet that at some point throughout this match, I'd be hard-pressed to believe that he doesn't break more from the center of the table somewhere, but he's got great accuracy from here.
Well, you know, the key is this, and this is what's going to determine the match right here, is who has the ability to make the ball in the side pocket and then stop the one in the corner. Neither one of them want to make the one in the corner. They both want to lay it up, just like SVB did there. And I'll tell you this is the reason why I don't like breaking from the rail the way that Shane is. You will see most top pros will break from the rail like that on a bar table because they're closer to the balls. It's tougher to control the cue ball at that distance. The reason why SVB's doing it is because it allows him to get a bigger pop on the cue ball.
Yeah, he's coming down on the cue ball a little bit more,
Right.
so he's getting more leverage there. But I also think he's losing a little bit of accuracy
And control.
and control. The first time he broke, he had great success with the ball on the side. This time, it got kissed. So big opener for Federer. Nothing easy to get on this, too. You got to catch the one real thin. He wants to get below it. He's done about as good as you can do.
It's a pretty good position right there. What do you see on the 3 ball here? Does it go clean in the side?
Yeah, I believe it does pass the 5 in the left middle.
Yeah, I think you're right, Freezer.
I think all the work
Yeah,
is really the 3 to the 4 here, and everything kind of opens up after that.
yeah, you're gonna see him come forward here.
He needs that to settle.
That's pretty good. He may have to use the short rail. He may have to come in between the 7-10 here. I don't think so, though. I think he's okay just to pull it over to the long rail. He's calling the 3.
Yeah, I believe he's got a full pocket here. So he
Yeah.
can afford to come above the right middle if he'd like and just draw one rail over, or below it, or just roll it. He's got all sorts of options.
Yeah, he could just roll it. I don't mind that play, Scott, actually. Just rolling it and playing for the gap in between the 7-10. Obviously no problems getting back to the 5 ball with it laying over the side. But he did. He went below the side there.
Well, he's feeling good. That's a sign for Federer that he's feeling pretty good with the speed and the control. Looked to me like he was flirting with the right middle, but he knew exactly where it was going all along, out towards the center of the table. Here, he gets on the green 6. Everything should be good.
Needs this one to go. He's okay. Might be a little closer to his work than he wanted to be here. He would have liked to come another couple revolutions so the cue ball was working toward the 8 there, though, Scott.
Yeah, and that's why he's falling steep here. Like Jason said, he wanted a couple more rotations out of the cue ball there.
Nonetheless, very manageable here. Not the easiest of layouts, though, for a starter for Federer. He's still got some work to do here. He's got to go back and forth to get back to the 8 from the 7 as well.
Yeah, he'd be happy to be anywhere out in the middle of the table after this shot.
I think we'll see him use 2 cushions here. Like you said, just back to the middle. Just doesn't want to land straight. And I think he's kind of got a goofy angle here, Scott. This is not ideal.
I don't think it's the worst thing, Jason. I think it actually is one of those shots that might get him going, feeling good. Or it could do the opposite, but
Does he draw it all the way back to the short rail
I
here?
believe he does. Depending on the line, though, it's hard for us to tell the exact line.
He might have just enough angle to where he can just kind of punch over. He came all the way back, so that tells me he was dead straight.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about, right? I think that makes him feel good. He got nice and tight on the 8, so that's a good sign for Gorst.
Yeah, but the issue is, Scott, and we've talked about this in all the long races that me and you do, we've talked about this. He took a situation right there. He controlled it. He got out of it. He made the ball. But that's a missable ball shooting it at that pace with low English. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like if he gets
absolutely.
on the right angle, he can shoot it at a pace to where he's never going to miss it, and he can get position easier. So he just –
Yeah, but going back to that, he can't afford to miss the 6, right? So he knows
Right.
anywhere out, you know, and it kind of goes back to the 6 ball. He wanted to ensure the make there. I
Didn't
think he
really-
handled it well, Jay.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it becomes – in a race to 120, if you put yourself in situations where you have missable balls,
It'll get heavy.
it adds up.
Absolutely.
And 1-1. The first of many ties, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Omega Billiards. If you guys get a chance, I've played or used an Acme case for probably about 7 years now. I've only had 2. I had one break on me, but it was the Airlines. And the second one still looks like it's brand new. If you get a chance, check them out, omegabilliards.com. They've got all sorts of products. Mike Hong, owner of that company. We all know who Mike is. He's done a great job in the industry. And in my opinion, the Acme case is as good as it gets.
Yeah, I also have an Acme case.
Do you? It's a
Yeah.
nice case, right?
It is nice.
Lightweight, durable. My case looks like it's
good.
brand new. It's literally 3.5 years old. It does not have a mark on it, and I'm rough on my equipment.
And just like that, we're going to take a peek at Federer's break here. You notice the random rack generator on the screen behind him. Told him where to put the balls. You're going to see Federer come out to the middle of the table here. And his goal is for the 7 and the 8 ball to both travel toward the side pockets and for the 1 ball to go in the top right and settle, not go down. So he's trying to deposit the 7 and 8 in the sides. We'll talk a little bit more about the rack here in a bit, about what else they're trying to accomplish, because there's a lot going on there if you're new to the game of 10 ball.
Yeah, and so with Federer breaking from that break position, I think you've got a little bit more control of what's going on. He's not hitting him near the speed, and we already knew that SVB's hitting him. But, boy, he really just wants to get that ball down and have control of the table. And that's what he's done in game number 3.
Yeah, and this isn't the easiest of looks for a starter. Cue ball got kicked over there, but he'll take it. See him come 2 rails, I would imagine. He may go 1 at it. Don't you see him wrapping 2 here?
Yeah, I actually think he's pretty happy with this. I know it wasn't ideal. He wanted to play the 1 in the top right, but I think he'll be pretty pleased with it. He gets this down. The 3's a little awkward, but he gets on the 3, and I think he's a heavy favorite to get out.
Yeah, you're right. The key is the first 2 shots here, the 1 to the 2, 2 to the 3. It's perfect 1 rail right at it.
Yeah,
So it wasn't as steep as the TV appeared.
right. I think we were a little misled there. He just put a little pinch of inside or check English on it. Now he will come 2 rails out. This is where the speed's pretty vital. Doesn't want to get too steep like he did last game on the 6. Probably actually rather be a little more flat than too much angle here, because you want to deal with the 7 and 9.
And for all you folks out there tuning in on Facebook or YouTube, after this rack, we are going to xpool.live only. Make sure you get out there and support the players. They both get a large percentage of the stream money for their efforts here.
Yeah, and they both deserve it.
Absolutely, a ton of pressure. You got to really commend SVB. I mean, SVB, if we look at it and we talk about kind of where they've been, right? Like SVB has been known as the king of 10 ball for what, 20 years? Ever since 10 ball really became a thing, he's been the king of it.
Absolutely, due to that punishing break of his.
And really, Federer Gorst, ever since he has been on the scene, he's been chasing after him, wanting to play. They were both sponsored by Q-Tech, which, oh, he almost missed that ball, Scott.
Yeah, it almost looked like it kicked or turned a little bit on him, to be honest or to be fair.
But yeah, so SVB putting the title of king of 10 ball up for grabs.
Yeah, you got to give him a lot of credit. 40 years old. I'll tell you what, you and I talked about it at dinner last night. I personally think Shane's striking the object ball as good as he's ever struck it. I don't know about his break. I don't get to see him break 10 ball a lot anymore, but he sure seems to be playing well. The competition has just really raised up thanks to the WNT and Emily Frazier.
Yeah, just a ton of unbelievable players out there. But SVB, I'm with you. I've been saying it for the last 3 years. He's in top form. He's as good, if not better, than he's ever been right now.
And got to give a shout out to a friend of ours, the best in the business, Mr. Carl Boys, tuning in.
Boise.
Yeah, of course. He wants a free code.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that guy. Don't ever go to the bar with him.
Tell him to go make a video, YouTube video. What's in the bag, Boise? Monetize that thing. Federer making quick work here.
Yeah, he's
really nice on the 7.
Yeah, absolutely. He's handled this rack well.
Yeah, but he ain't going to like this. Now he's going to have to work the cue ball. If he would have rolled forward just a little bit, he could have drifted into position. Now he's going to have to work some cushions.
Yeah, I think he was almost okay with it due to the line that the cue ball was on, heading towards that long rail or the short rail up top on the left end. So I think he was okay with this, actually.
Yeah,
he's
but
gonna have to swing around, right?
Yeah, but if he rolls up another 2, he tried to just stun forward through it. And he just came a couple inches short. If he rolls another couple inches there, he can just follow the ball and doesn't have to touch a cushion. Now he's going to have to work it around 3 rails, I think. Watch outside pocket. Boing.
Perfect.
Well done there. So it did become pretty awkward, right?
Yeah, it was, but I actually really think that's where he ended up wanting to be, not where he is right now. I think he flirted a little close with the left middle, but I think he just kind of took his medicine there with what he had.
Federer Gore's 24 years of age, missing his 10 ball. And that will not do well for his confidence right there, Scott.
Wow. Massive miss. Unexpectedly. We never expect a player like Gorst to miss a ball like that. SVB quickly to the table.
Unbelievable. 2-1 SVB claims his second lead of the match. And you see SVB reaching back there. He's going to touch the rack generator. See how he needs to put him on the template. Yeah, so, you know, big miss there. I mean, it could end up costing him quite a bit, Scott. You know, we've seen both of these players. I expect there to be some serious packages in this match. I really do.
Yeah, I think we all do most of the time, but it never really pans out that way. I think they're going to be long days. I think they're going to be a lot of grind games, a lot more than we think. And going back to the 10 ball, yeah, he clearly missed it, but it wasn't even close. These pockets are 4 1/4. There's a lot of people in here breathing on the table. It's a pretty tight room. The humidity is real. Conditions are not exactly perfect for these guys, and that's the way we want it.
All right, rack number 4, SVB to break. He's sticking with the break from the end rail, and what I mean by that, if you notice, his bridge hand is on the rail, which is not something that you typically see at the pro level playing 10 ball. It's more of a bar table thing. And he got cue ball kicked there. He's not in love with this break. Doesn't have a good look at the 1. Obviously can see the full ball, but nothing really offensive here, Scott.
No, a lot of power there. I don't think the 1 goes past the 9. Even if it does, the future and position on the pink 4 isn't really there. He's going to have to do something defensively here.
I would imagine he's probably going to try to utilize that 5 ball in some kind of way.
Yeah, he could, to your point, he could play the 1 below the 4 and maybe down here 1, 2 rails below the 10 and 7 and maybe try and just draw or suck down towards the back of the 5 and kind of use all the cover he can there, but he'd have to miss the 4 with the 1, so he'd have to cut the 1 quite a bit to bank it past the 4 and get it down here on this bottom rail.
I mean, it's tough to do anything else with the cue ball just because the 1's so close to the rail.
Yeah, let's see what he's thinking.
Really feels like that's the smart play here.
Yeah, well, he's looking to level out. I don't know that you get behind the 5 that way unless he just wants to chip the 1 and use the 9. He's got some options. None of them ideal. Yeah, now he's leveling down a little bit more.
Is he going offensive? Is he playing the bank here, Scott?
I don't believe so.
He went the other way. He's going to leave a window here. He's not going to like how he gets back to the table here, I don't believe, Scott.
Yeah, still a little tricky. I think you use the 7 here, but still a little tricky.
We'll use the 7-10, right, and go side to side.
Yeah, it's just easy to find that gap if you're Gorst. A lot of these guys will play this ball differently, though. They'll come off a thin edge of it.
At that range?
Not saying he will, I'm just saying it's an option. A lot of these guys like to do that. I think you use the 7-10.
I agree. Because even if you hit it a little firm, the 1 could get behind the 8 some type of way. Gives you a bunch of options going this way.
Yeah, it's pretty ideal. He's overhit it, though.
He hit the window, but he did get the cue ball on the rail, which limits SVB's options at least. It's probably going to see another more containing safety here from SVB as opposed to devastating. If he would have left the white ball out in the open there, Scott, Federer would have been locked up right here.
Yeah, and I think Federer wanted to catch a little bit more of the 1. Caught it just a fraction thick. If he catches it a little thinner, the speed might have been accurate. These guys are world champions, but will that 10 that Federer missed bother him at all?
You know, that's the one thing I'll say about Federer. He's so consistent. He's so mentally tough for his age. He's battle-tested. He's been in so many situations. Not many people have been in big money matches with the caliber of player that he has been.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for a long time.
And he knows this is a marathon, not a sprint. So I think you'll see him bounce back fairly quickly. He's going to get a look here.
Yeah, nothing easy. As you pointed out, Federer's shot leaving the cue ball on the rail. Well, Shane has done the same thing, and this is a real test to the top right.
I think you might see him go offensive here if he has the ability to, because it leads him to natural position on the 4 ball. Cue ball will be traveling toward the top left. Obviously, it's not an easy shot, but I don't think the safety's very easy from here either, Scott.
No, I agree. I think it's all about how you feel here. The problem is he is going away from his position, but the cue ball will stay on that left side of the table for the pink 4. Boy.
And I will say this, out of all the things that Federer dislikes in pool, rolling the ball is number 1.
Yeah, I don't think any of these top players like to roll the ball unless they're forced. Here he is pretty much forced.
He's forced to roll the ball here, without a doubt. He may have been looking at powering up, though, and coming around, trying to get back to where above the 9. Did you see that? Did you see how he was pointing with his cue, like going ahead and getting through this ball with a solid strike with some high? Does it carry some kind of safety if he misses it, Scott?
Well, he knows he might get separation, right? The biggest fear for any of these guys is rolling that ball up to the right corner and just leaving it in the open.
He may be trying to chip this and play a safety here and come back underneath the 10.
There's nothing wrong with chipping this 1 rail to the top rail, but he tried to power it. Looked to me, and you don't see this too often with Federer, his final backswing was pretty quick. I don't know.
Well, it was a pretty big tester coming back to the table after missing a 10 ball and a non-successful safety shot. So his last 3 innings have not been his best.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I touched on. I don't know. Sometimes it'll stick with you for a little bit, just in the coming innings. Now, this is where you've got to be conscious of Federer's jumping ability. Shane looking to see if the 1 plays, because the 8's a big ball there. You know you can get him behind the 8, but Shane's very aware, so he's going to play the 1 in the left middle, and I can't blame him there. That's where the jump cue comes into play. You put Federer behind the 8, he's going to make a good hit on the 1 and probably put Shane in a bad position. That's why he's going to go at the 1.
And this is one of those strange situations where that 4 ball is kind of a backboard, right? Like if he comes short and hits the top side of that, he could still make the ball based on how it's setting at this angle.
Yeah, so is he just going to roll this and lay the cue ball down on the bottom rail as well? Yeah, he is. Oh, wow, what a hit.
He doesn't want to get jacked up.
This was a great hit by SVB. Looking good early.
What a shot that was. And I think if you talk to Federer, where he really thinks he has the big advantage is with his youth. You know, and having 3 long days in a row, he feels like he can kind of outlast him.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's something you want to rely on, right? I don't know if you want.
No, but it just shows you how close this match is.
Absolutely, but I just don't know if that's the right mindset. I heard him say that in an interview, and it just crossed my mind, and I'm just talking out loud. I don't know if that's the right mindset to where you're thinking I'm going to outlast him, but obviously a race to 120 is a long race, and Shane is 40 years old, but he is the greatest at this race, in my opinion, and he's not in bad condition.
No, he's in great shape, and to be honest, he plays pool nonstop, so he's in perfect shape for a 40-year-old.
To him, it's just another practice session.
Handled perfectly, getting under that ball. SVB looking to claim the 4th rack here to take a 3-1 lead, and he's done just that.
Yes, he has. Jason, you know my cue maker, Ken Thyman, cue ball.
Oh, cue ball.
If y'all get a chance, go to KT Customs on Facebook. He makes about 10 cues a year, and in my opinion, they are some of the best playing cues in the world. I've played with his cue for 12 years. A lot of you have seen my cue, a lot of you haven't. Get a chance, go to KT Customs on Facebook. While you're at it, check out Preston's TriStateCues.com. This man's selling all types of products, brake cues, aramith pool balls. TriStateCues.com. Check it out. A lot of people in here.
Yeah, it's a packed house.
More than I actually expected. Literally.
Oh, tomorrow night will be standing room only.
Well, we're already 5 or 6 rows deep. I don't know how much deeper you can get.
There's a shot of Federer in the torture chair after making a couple mistakes. And back to the main action here. Sticking with the break off the back rail.
He's getting a lot of power, a big thump. Like you said, Jason, he's getting a huge pop on the cue ball. The 9 got a kiss, but the 1's going to dress up.
Does he have a shot, though? I think that 3 ball may have snuck in on him in the last second there, Freezer.
I think we'll tell with his body language soon. Boy, look at the cue ball. I know it. I think it got a kiss or 2, but that's where you'd like it to finish just about every time.
You know, this rivalry is kind of interesting, honestly. Like, obviously, they were both members of Q-Tech, and they felt like they couldn't play each other because of that. And obviously Federer's switching to triple 60. But now they're USA teammates. What do you think that does to the environment of the Mosconi Cup, Freezer?
Yeah, I think they'll get past this pretty quickly. They're both highly respective of one another. Shane clearly had a good look at the 1 there. He wrapped around, came off the 4. He's got good position on the 3. He's going to wrap around again. He'd like to get just this direction where he is now with that cue ball. And this is going to be fine. He's on the wrong side. He's got to contend with the 8 and 9. Can't really come backwards. He's going to go into the 8.
Yeah, this became a little tricky, didn't it?
Yeah, can he split the gap, Jason?
Yeah,
Going forward, can he punch between the 8 and 9, do you think?
I think he's got to be really careful. I think he's looking to playing off the 8 here and just kind of controlling it. Problem is, if you try to split it and you do it with pace, you could end up in the drink. If you don't get through him, you could end up scratching off the 8. Or if he goes with a little bit more control, he did just like you said, but
Yeah, he made it look easy. That was not easy.
beautiful shot.
Yeah, very, very well controlled. He could have caught a piece of the 8 and gone in the drink. He could have decelerated and gone in the drink. Very well handled. It's a little steep here. This is right up Shane's alley. He likes to power the ball. I don't know if he's going to do it here, but there is a 1-2 back and forth power shot. He might just be able to hold this, though. That's what he's looking at.
Oh, and Scott, I just heard our main man Kyle gave the viewers a few extra racks on Facebook and YouTube. This one will be the last, though. So make sure you go out to www.xpool.live
Yeah, and
to get your pay-per-view pass.
Kyle Ferguson's the best in the business. I've said it. He and Buffalo are both two of the best pool room owners in the world, in my opinion. In this pool room, you've got to check it out if you get a chance. Rail Yard Billiards is as good as it gets.
And is he going to love this?
So that's why I thought he might amp up and come back and forth between the 7 and 10. I touched on it a little bit, but he didn't. He's flirting.
I think he's
with
okay,
trouble.
though, right?
Probably.
He's just going to have to travel around the table here. It looks like it's a super thin cut.
Yeah, he can definitely make it the way he's acting. Now, he's swerving. He's elevated down on this, so he's got to swerve the 7. Don't want to catch this too thick. Is he going to find the gap? Everything rosy for SVB.
Is that what he was playing?
You can't imagine.
There's no way that's what he's playing, right? He was trying to get to the other side of the 9.
I believe so, but his big focus was just making the 6. That's how tough it was.
He caught it a little thick, right? And that's why
right.
he didn't get the pace that he wanted. It worked out for him, though.
Sometimes you've got to gamble.
Gamble, gamble. Did what he set out to do, which was deposit the 6 ball. Found a home for the 7, but he's getting at the 50-yard line here, Scott. This is no bargain.
No, it's not. If you go to the top left, you're probably going to contact the 9. He might be able to punch past it.
I think he's going to go to the top right here.
I think he's got to go to the top left.
You're right. He can't. It looks like he maybe can beat the 9. Or just draw into it.
Yeah, just took his chances there, and it's not getting any easier. Go to the lower right here and just float above the left middle. Or will he roll it and come down below the left middle? Probably rolling it, I guess.
Yeah, it makes the pocket bigger if you shoot it that way. And he used all of it. Wiped its feet on the way in. Is he looking at a bank here, Scott? Or can he cut that in the bottom right?
He might even cut it in the right middle.
Looks treacherous from
I
here.
think you've got to bank this ball, but it's all player preference, right? If he feels like he can get the cue ball on that bottom rail by cutting it, he is going to cut it.
Side.
Yeah.
Sometimes the monitor can be a bit deceiving. It's definitely not a hanger. And he knocked it down. 4-1 is SVB. And go out to xpool.live to purchase your pay-per-view pass. That's all, folks, on Facebook and YouTube. Come out and support these guys.
Thank you all for tuning in. Please support the stream for these guys. They're working hard. SVB with an early lead. 4 games.
I mean, what an out there. That was 5 unbelievable shots. He could not get in line. Hit the gap to play the 7 ball.
Yeah, he was
Had to
swerving the
swerve to make the
6.
6. Tough shot on the 7, then a tougher shot on the 8, tougher shot on the 9, and then probably ended with the toughest shot on the 10 ball there from that angle.
Agreed. Yeah, it was much steeper than it looked. He made it look easy. Like, that's what these guys do. But like Jason said, he was out of line basically 5 straight shots there, and it all started with position on the 6 where he had to swerve it. And he caught that too thick.
Nonetheless, gets them all down 4-1 in favor of SVB here. Day 1, we are racing to 40. 10 ball with the magic rack. Standard 10 ball rules are in effect. Obviously, they're playing 3 foul, rack your own. The only caveat is we do have a random rack generator that you can see on the screen right behind SVB where it's X pool, where it says X pool. There will be a random rack generator there before every rack to make sure these players are not pattern racking. And look at this, Scott. He's coming off the rail a little bit more with the cue ball. Did you see that?
Yeah, he is. He's generating more power. What's the 9 do? It's going to drop. Look at this.
Wow.
And this is the factor that we've alluded to the whole time, that you see all the talk about on live stream, on Facebook, on all the streams, and all the tournament talk. Shane Van Boning's break. Doesn't look like he skipped a beat with that break there.
Well, I mean, listen, if you're really grading the break that he just had right there, it's definitely not an A or a B or even a C, because he didn't make the ball that he was trying to make, which is one of them in the side. But the difference is, and Scott, you know this as well as anybody, when somebody's hitting the rack the proper speed, they have the ability to make the ball 4 rails like Shane just did. So it gives you more options if you hit it with the right pace and the right pop.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Jason, if he made 1 on the side. I know he made 2 on the break. I don't know if he made 1 on the side or not.
I think they both came short.
Okay. But to your point and to my point, his power, the energy that he gets and his power, and Jeremy Jones talks on it all the time, he just gets so much more power and such a better hit, puts a great stroke on the ball that as long as he's controlling that cue ball, he gets bonuses. Those bonuses will pay off. 2 big misses into that corner, Jason. One was the 10 ball by Gorst, and now the 4 by SVB.
What a slugfest. You know, these two are just going to be battling back and forth. You're literally going to be on the edge of your seat, and you don't expect either one of them to really make an error. That's what's crazy about this match to me. Usually, if you're watching two pros, even if they're top level, you anticipate some errors in some spots, but both of these guys are so unbelievable at making shots and recovering in the toughest situations. Jumping, kicking, breaking. It's just going to be a slugfest.
No, I agree. But they are both human.
Just barely.
Just barely.
They're definitely both going to have moments throughout this match where they don't seem human. We'll see if Federer can.
I don't know that he wanted to go directly into that 8.
I will guarantee you he didn't want to go directly into that 8.
But it turned out just fine.
Well, does he come under the 6 ball here, Scott? Or does he try to be cute and just slow roll this ball?
I think you've just got to roll it. Doesn't he? I thought it laid pretty good, or is it laying tougher than I thought?
Yeah. You're right. He was straight in. Perfect.
Yeah, so.
I'll tell you what, though. Like, I know that Shane is up 4-1, but if I'm Federer and I'm sitting in the chair and I'll look at the way that Shane is breaking the balls right now, I've got to feel good. And it's no knock on SVB's break, him going off the short rail like that. I'm just really surprised that he's not out in the middle and hitting it the way we're used to SVB hitting it.
Yeah, Shane's a genius of the break, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I mean, I don't want to be a Federer sitting in my chair watching those balls go in at 110 mile an hour with that cue ball sticking. You know, so there's a upside and a downside to that. I do know what you're saying, and I think there'll be a point in time in the match where Shane comes towards the center of the table. But if he keeps breaking like that, Jason, keeps getting that pop and controlling the cue ball, I don't see any reason to switch.
I'll tell you this. The only reason that I think he will switch is even if he gets good results, if it's not consistent. You can get good results a lot of different ways. But if it's not consistent, you can't repeat the same results, which is what Federer's going to do and what SVB can do. We know if SVB comes out to the middle of the table, he's going to have devastating breaks. And Federer's not going to like any of it if he's breaking. I'm really surprised by that, Scott.
No, I was surprised by it as well. You never see Shane break from the back rail like that typically. Well, he did get that one down.
Knocked
Jason.
that 10 ball down, didn't he? 4-2's the score after 6 racks. Ton of pull for us.
Yeah. Do you know Aaron Scotty Glenn out of Oklahoma?
No, I don't.
Yeah, Aaron's Storm Shelters. Listen, guys, we all know it's a tough time in this country, but there's storms, tornadoes, everything. Aaron's Storm Shelters, go to it on Facebook. Take a look. This guy is, in my opinion, the #1 bunker, vault, storm shelter builder in the country, if not the world. He's actually franchising the business. I know Chip Compton and Joey Gray and all those guys know him real well, but his methods are proven. He's selling basically the format to building these bunkers. Reach out to him. Aaron's Storm Shelters on Facebook. He makes absolutely fascinating vaults and bunkers, shelters. There's never a wrong time to get something like that if you're in the right part of the country.
All right, here we go. Rack number 7. Federer Gorst to break.
And this is where we thought that Shane would break from.
Yeah, and he will. I'm telling you right now, Scott. Like for Federer's sake, I hope he keeps breaking from the short rail. I don't think he's going to stick with it long. I think that the ability to produce the consistent outcomes and a little flat there. Got a kick on the cue ball. He's going to like it, though.
No,
As long as that one doesn't go down. So that is exactly what they're trying to do, minus the kick on the cue ball. They're both trying to park the cue ball right in the center of the table. Federer caught a kiss on the cue ball, and that's the reason why it ended all the way up. But that one ball laying in the corner is what they're both looking to do, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. That's exactly what they're looking to do. And to Jason's point, you can't argue Jason's point. There's a lot of inconsistencies in the power that Shane's using from that back rail. And what he means by that is it's tough to control those balls behind the one, and it's also tough to control the cue ball. You can get a lot of kisses. Well, you notice the speed Federer's hitting it. His outcome is going to most likely be more consistent.
Based on what I've seen in the 2 days of practice, which has been 95% breaking the balls for these guys, Federer's 8 out of 10, what we just saw, the break that we just saw, with the one laying there. I think you'll see Shane go to it. I really do.
I do think that Federer's going to have a little bit more work, right? Because he's really playing one specific ball where Shane at times is going to make 2 or 3 on the break. I think Federer's going to have a little bit more work. There might be a few clusters here and there, or at least he's going to have to run, most likely every rack he's going to have to run 9 balls versus 7 or 8 balls, right?
Well, that
can get a little heavy because they can lay a little funny at times. But I think that guaranteeing a shot on the one every time is very, very powerful.
I mean, listen, there's no arguing the fact if SVB finds the break, it is absolutely the most devastating thing in pool. From anything, the most dominating thing. It's like when Shaquille O'Neal was in his prime and you feed him the ball under the basket. That's how dominating SVB's break can be.
He wants to get up here past the 8. Does not want to be elevated over it, and it's close.
I think he is elevated over it, Scott. He may have to take his medicine here and just kind of shoot the 6 from there. I'm sure they're not playing all ball fouls, though.
Yeah, and does the 7 pass in the lower left if he carries a big angle on the 6? I don't know. I think it's just going to play in the lower right. But for now, he's got to get the 5 down. He wants to get off the rail.
Yeah, this is not a hanger here, Scott.
No, it's not. I think he's actually going to power this ball.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you just take your medicine there. Let's take a peek at the overhead here and see if the 7 does pass.
Well, now he can draw to the left of the 9. I believe he can hold anyway.
Yeah, you're right. So he got a nice angle there to where it doesn't really matter. He's probably going to be playing it in the other corner. Back to our main screen here.
He might just be in that middle angle where it's a little awkward to come to the left, a little awkward to come out past the 9 towards where the cue ball is now.
It looks like he can just kind of drag it in between the rail and the long and the 9 ball though. Setting almost perfect here, Scott. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Must go.
Yeah, so he was probably just in that awkward angle where it was a little funny to draw it back and a little funny to punch out, so he just took his medicine and came out towards the center, and I think he got the most out of that.
Just doesn't look comfortable though, Scott. Federer's body language, his face, his demeanor, he just does not look settled.
I think there's a lot at play there, though. You know, we've mentioned Shane Van Boening as a figure, right? He's playing a guy that we both know he's looked up to, and he knows what he's faced with. He knows that whatever he has to do isn't going to be easy. And then he's playing in his home room. And a lot of times I've talked about that. When you're playing for big money, sometimes I've felt more comfortable in the other guy's home room.
Well,
So there's pluses and minuses because you know everybody in this room, right? And there's a little bit more pressure on you at times. I think when he gets locked in, Jason, that's when it really gets good for Gorst.
yeah, you know, obviously the biggest advantage of playing in your home room, I kind of talked about this a little bit. I don't really think it's an advantage on the table. Obviously, Federer played you here. He played Tony Chohan here. He played Carlo Beato here. So he's played quite a bit of pool on the table, but it's a diamond with Simonis cloth, Dermot balls. You know what I mean? Like, Shane's going to adapt to that. He's not going to have an advantage on this table. It's not like this is some gaff table in the Philippines with chalk on it and super sticky. You know,
Right.
Shane's going to adapt to this table quickly. The biggest advantage that I think Federer has playing in his homeroom is he has the ability to go home and sleep in his own bed.
I think that's the biggest factor, absolutely. I don't think it affects Shane either way.
No.
He's going to, and Shane's a good sleeper. He sleeps very well. I think he's overamped this. It's going to end up on the rail.
A little strong, John.
Yeah, so his timing, not 100% yet.
Just a little unsettled, though. I was talking to Federer right before the match and was, you know, slightly complaining about the conditions, saying it was super bouncy and the break was changing due to the humidity and the moisture in the room. So we'll see if he can snap out of that.
This is a Big 10 for Gorst to get down.
And he does just that. That's the other thing. That's the other thing about the homeroom right there, Scott. If he gets feeling good and he gets making some nice runouts, he's going to get a ton of support here.
Absolutely, but it can also work against you.
Yeah.
It can work the opposite. And you know that people are going to cheer for Shane as well, right?
Oh, he's got a ton of fans here, too.
Absolutely. I know, Jason, that you're familiar with Railbirds TV. I just did a match not long ago there, Gorst versus Paguline at Derby City, the 9-ball match that they played in the final rounds. Got a couple other matches. Go to Railbirds TV if you get a chance on YouTube. Efren versus Filler, SVB versus Filler. RailbirdsTV.com or Railbirds TV on YouTube. Greg Sullivan in the building, the owner of Diamond Tables, your man.
My man.
He's done a lot for pool.
Here we go, back to the action. See if we can get a little better view here. On the ones and twos.
Yeah, and he's got about half of the speed that Shane has, but he's got a lot of control. Look at the 3. The 4 does fall. Got a bad kiss on the cue ball. He's ended up there, I think, 3 out of 4 times.
Yeah, you're right. He's getting a collision in the center of the table there. See what he does, what kind of adjustment he makes.
Yeah, and this is real tricky. Can he catch enough of the 1 to miss the 7? That's what he's looking at.
Yeah, nothing easy here, is there, Freezer?
No, I think he'd be happy with distance. Might try to get some type of a snooker. Okay, he's looking to 3-rail the 1.
3-rail the 1. Is he going to try to bring the cue ball under the 8?
Yeah, man,
This is
I don't
tough
know. If you're bringing the 1 all the way around, it's real easy to lose it.
Yeah, it's real easy to scratch here. He might get under the 9 and get a little fortunate.
Oh, that's so strong.
He missed
What a
it.
strong hit, though. He played the cue ball to the 9. And I think he knew that the 1 was going to come short. Pretty strong play. And if he makes the 1, he's got position on the 2. I do like the play.
Yeah, pretty crafty shot right there.
And Van Boning.
Does he have an offensive look here? I believe he does, right?
Yeah, but he's just faced with trouble. The 9's covering the 2. So the 2 doesn't play. Where Shane's at now.
The safety's tough here, though. You may see him get offensive and then go defensive on the deuce.
He might even back cut bank the 1.
That's risky business with that 7 there.
Well, the problem is if you cut at the 1 to the top right, you're faced with the same trouble on the 2.
This is really tough. Really tough situation for SVB.
Yeah, and I think banking that 1 to the middle, yes, it's tough. But the other problem is if the cue ball flattens out at all, Jason, he's going to go in towards the 7. So that's kind of why I was giving the credit to Gorst on that shot.
He may be trying your shot. He may be banking it cross side here. Looks like he's gearing up with some left-hand English.
Yeah, the 7's a problem with that shot, though, I believe. He could really easily catch that 7 thick. Cue ball end up in the top right corner. He's going to the side.
All right.
He's got to avoid the 7.
Very offensive play here.
Yeah, I think the only option, really. He caught the 7. It's going to end up okay.
No. Same problem for Gorst here. How do you get on the deuce? You just take on the 2-9 combo, try to get good and straight on it?
Yeah, Gorst has got such good fundamentals. I think he could actually draw below the 2, Jason. I mean, he might somehow get below the 2 from the left long rail. It is steep. Trying to look at it on the table. Yeah, I don't think he can hold to draw it back. Gorst does something a little different than most players, and Jason, you could probably elaborate on it better than I can, but he aims towards the center of the cue ball when he ends up drawing the ball. His final stroke, he goes low. I think he's got the best fundamentals in the world, in my opinion. He is elevating, so do you think he's drawing this?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to check it up off 1 rail here. Probably go below the side pocket.
Wow.
Yep, look at this. Not going to get the result that he had wished for, or hoped for rather, but he deposited the ball and has a good look at the deuce here. Has a ton of options, Scott. What do you see?
Yeah, he might use the 9 here and just bunt the 2 up behind the wall, the 5, 8, and 10. Can you do that? I don't know if he can do that. He might.
That's as good as any, and the reason why I like that is you can really protect the cue ball that way and take away the jump shot, forcing Shane to kick.
I just don't know if he can hold it, Jason.
I think he can. He may have to play it into the 8 ball to shoot that.
So he's chipping the 2 and trying to nudge him up behind the black 8.
Yeah, a little weak with the stroke there.
Yeah, it was. I think he did okay. Shane looking to see if there's a gap.
Whew.
Looking at his body language now. If
Nice.
Federer had a lot more room, he could have gotten him really tucked up under there.
Yeah, I like the idea. I think he just let up on his stroke a little bit. He was wanting to get a little closer to the 8, obviously. Still a pretty nice result there, Freezer.
Yeah, not bad. Shane. There's a great look.
Yeah, I don't think he has it, does he?
Yeah, the jump is fairly easy.
I think he could play it, but you see how the 9 ball's out in front of the deuce?
Yeah, just a fraction. It's easy to catch a piece of that 9 early.
I'm like you. I think we'll see him go to the short cue here.
Interesting.
What's he looking at, tying something else up?
That's interesting here. The Federer going to receive ball in hand.
And they are playing 3 foul.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting play in my opinion. He must predict that Federer going to have a hard time getting on the 5, but with the 9 being right there, can Federer utilize it to play some type of a wedge snooker?
This is risky with the 10 there.
Yeah, and I guess that's what Shane was
Yeah,
gambling
I
on,
like
right?
this. I like this option that he's looking at here, just thinning the deuce, coming 2 rails, utilizing the 5-8 as cover. This is the smarter play. This is the easier shot, right? Like you could foul the other way.
Yeah, and he's really got room to get him up under there if he wants.
Did pretty well.
Yeah, and look at what he really did there is he used the 3 to cover up the
Kick.
long rail kick.
Going straight to the jump cue here.
So what Shane did, though, was pretty clever. If we notice, he tied the 5 and 8 up, knew he was going to have another opportunity to either jump or kick at the 2. If he makes a good hit here and leaves a shot for Federer, Federer's still got a lot of work to do because of the 5 being tied up. So he just bought himself some time.
He's called it back underneath, so just in case he flukes it in.
I think he called the 9 there.
Oh.
Yeah, he just caught it much thinner than he wanted.
Yeah, and with it laying over the pocket here, what kind of shot can Federer get on the 3 for an opportunity to break the 5?
Yeah,
Or does he just play for a safe on the 5 with that 10 ball there?
Yeah, that's always an option, Jay. If he's straight, I think he can draw back just above the 10 and carry a line and maybe go into the 8, playing the 3 in the right middle. So this is where I think he draws the ball. He aims like this, but I can't tell if he's straight or not. Yeah, he's over.
Watch outside pocket.
Yeah, he's overhit this. Timing a little funny there.
Does the 5 go on the top right?
It does.
I mean, he may have the angle here to drop below the 9. He may be able to shoot this ball and go in between the 9-10 and fall under this 5 ball.
Yeah, you're correct. If he can avoid the 9 on the top side, he'll be all right. If he doesn't get there fully, he can play a defensive shot. I think it's a big ball, though, the 9. And you see the nod from Federer. A shake of negativity there. He doesn't like it. Is he going to try and stitch him up behind the 9 here?
Yeah, this is a tough situation right here. You want to stay offensive if you're Federer. That's what your gut's telling you to do, but your brain may decide differently.
Yeah, if it's laying real nice and he feels good about it, and that's what he was aiming at just a second ago, or lining up, he might feel like he can just stitch him up right behind the 9. Oh, he's using the wall. Well done.
Wow. Very nice shot right there. The only problem is he's moved the 3 away from the 5-8, limiting his opportunity to get a break. after he makes the 3 ball and opening up the 5. Shane's calling the 7 ball in the top right.
Yeah, really the only thing he doesn't want to do is catch any of the 10 here or the 5-8 with the 3.
And he really wanted that cue ball to stay down there, didn't he?
Yeah, he liked contact with the 7, that's for sure. Is this going to end up perfect for Federer?
He might have fell on the angle here to where he can go into those too.
If not, Jay, I think he can at least draw below the or above the 9. Yeah, he can go forward.
That's what he's looking at, going forward and kind of clipping the 5 ball on the, off the long rail. He might get a shot. That's what he was looking at, right?
Just a tip of right. Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't want to make contact with the 8 here. He's wanting to flick the 5, and only the 5. Look at this shot. Oh, almost. Just a hair away, wasn't he, Freezer?
Yeah, about as close as you could get.
He's going to be. Does he try to weld him to the back of the 10 ball right here and play the 5 off of the 8?
Might come off the 5 and put him up behind the 7.
It's a nice shot, too.
What's he calling? Did he just call something in the middle?
I think he called the 5 in the middle, but
Okay, so he's going to go up that way.
I don't really understand this.
He's using the 9.
What a shot this is. I mean, what kind of confidence in your speed control do you have to do to play that shot?
Yeah, that's where his timing really comes into play. His cue ball, in my opinion, and we've talked about it, is as good as anybody's on the planet.
I don't think many people play the safe that way, Scott, right there.
No, a lot of
that
people
spot.
don't, including myself. I don't think Shane plays it that way, actually.
I think most people try to either go up behind the 7, like you said, or try to weld him to the back of the 10 from there.
Yeah, he's probably going to make contact here, though. Shane looking for something good to happen.
Yeah, like you said, a
Wow.
pretty easy hit. You would have expected him to go short there instead of long.
Yeah, that definitely laid like a big ball. Hard to believe that he comes to the top side of that.
Yeah, because you could have scratched from the top side. It's pretty tough to miss that ball if you play to go short there.
Gorst, 5 balls away from tying this game up at 4 apiece.
But still, though, Scott, just look at his demeanor. He just not comfortable, right? He just grinded through a rack. And one of the other situations where Federer believes he's a favorite, if it turns into a moving game, he feels like he's a favorite. So he just battled with one of the best ever, won the position, won the first shot, played some nice safeties, and then he gets to the table and he's still kind of down.
Yeah, and he almost looks like he's kind of stumped, right? His mind just isn't on all cylinders, not clicking fully yet. Let's not forget last week, SVB just come back, made it to the semifinals, quarterfinals, had a good tournament. He's been playing. Federer obviously wins the World 9-ball championships there in Saudi Arabia. I was there for that, which was an amazing thing. But how much has Federer really played since then?
Well, he played in the European Open. Obviously didn't have the run that he would have loved to. Losing to Skyler in an unbelievable fashion. Up 9-5 and lost from there in a race to 10.
Yeah, that was a crazy match.
And
Very
didn't,
crazy.
and didn't do anything
No,
wrong.
he didn't. You don't expect that on those pockets. Skyler really came with it. Wow, he's going to lose this, or is it going to hold tight?
Oh, he's perfect.
Well, that's a good sign for Gorst and a sign of the homeroom advantage, knowing how that ball is going to come off those rails. But it handled real short, Jason.
Yeah.
On all 3 of those rails. So Federer really understanding what the cue ball is doing.
Kind of surprised that he decided to play for a 3-rail position shot there. Whenever he had ball in hand, he could have just got underneath of the 7. Right, he could have just got underneath the 7 and floated up here.
Absolutely.
And gone 1 rail.
Yeah, that's where I was a little surprised. He could have played the 8 in the lower right corner as well and just been anywhere out in the center of the table.
You know what that tells me, though?
He's trying to feel better.
He's trying to get that stroke out, right?
Yeah,
he's trying
absolutely.
to let his arm out a little bit.
No doubt.
looking to tie it up here. Definitely not going to mark any scores before they knock them down after that first missed 10 ball by Gorst. The third rack. He knocks it down.
Yeah,
4-4.
We've got a tie ball game. We're not surprised with it. Not surprised. Check out Deadwood Custom Cues on Facebook. Quality custom cues that just about anybody can afford. Bernal D'Artez, Deadwood Custom Cues.
All right.
Yeah, and there you see the rack generator. Maybe a couple of friends watching. Shout out to my friends Allison and Wayne Barry, two of the greatest pool supporters. I'm a little surprised. I don't think they could make it out here, but they've gone to just about every major event in the United States in the last several years. Great for pool. Also, shout out to Tony and Julie Bloom. They just opened a new room, Roadhouse Billiards and Brew in Eugene, Oregon. If you're ever up in the Northwest, check it out.
All right, here we go. Rack number 9, all tied up at 4. We're just over an hour in, Freezer. An hour and 13 minutes, and they've played 8 racks. So I think you were accurate. You told me it was going to take longer than 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah,
but we've had a few moving games.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see more of that. I mean, even though these guys break as good as anybody in the world, he's come up short with the 2 balls in the side.
Yeah,
he made an unexpected ball.
Yeah. But look at
this
the one
is the
ball.
result he continues to have. The one continues to hang in that top right corner.
And that's all about the speed and the tempo, what you talked about, the pace, right?
Yeah, his speed on the break, it's literally 50% of what SVB's hitting them at.
Which is, to your point, it's not as devastating. It's going to be more consistent.
It is.
But can he repeat it? Can he make the balls on the side? The conditions are changing on these guys. That's what's pretty cool about it. That's the reason why SVB's power is so devastating, because he has the ability to make a bunch of balls.
That's exactly right. Shane's going to hit you with some packages. Federer's just going to be consistent.
This ball's pretty deep here.
Yeah, still work to do. He's got to really catch it thin. This is a misleading shot. Is he looking to punch out or draw straight out?
Oh man, he overhit it pretty good here. I'm kind of he's gonna get away with it.
Well,
kind of. He's gonna get a look. He could have been hooked, right?
Yeah, I don't know. That was so touchy the way he played that. I thought he might just draw straight out of the corner. I'm
just kind of surprised he didn't just shoot it to the right-hand side of the pocket and just float up by the 6, past the 6. Guarantee himself a shot. Just play it kind of smooth. I don't think he was trying to contact the rail. I think he was trying to do what you said. Just draw out without contacting the rail, and then he hit the rail. The way it shot out of there.
Yeah, now he's pretty much forced to go to the top left corner. He'd be happy with just stopping the cue ball there.
Here we go.
The 5, definitely the ball to get on in this rack.
This is the shot to make, though, Scott. This is no hanger.
Yeah, he's lost the cue ball a little bit. I felt like if he just played a stop shot, he'd have been fine. I think he's still okay. He's just going to have a little more distance to the pink. Now he's looking at coming around. That's the line he looked at there. What does he do, Jason? Does he come around 3 rails or just hold somewhere down here by the 8?
Well, I think we'll see him just kind of level out here and roll the ball and go forward 1 rail.
Can he do that?
Yeah, if you look at this monitor over here, it appears that he has the ability to just kind of level out and float this ball in, but let's contact the rail. Doesn't want to get a huge punch stroke here, just kind of smooth through the ball.
His body language tells me he can't do that.
All right, so he's wrapping it like you said. He's coming 3 rails, coming down table. Just like you called.
Oh, he's caught the 5.
Not what he wanted.
Yeah.
Does the 5 ball go past the 7?
It does.
Looking at a thin cut here.
It just doesn't seem like we've seen much of Shane in the last few games. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like a lot of racks have been run. So a little misleading these last few games. Federer staying aggressive, going to the top left here. Maybe a touch of right ball. Wrap around below the 6.
He's going to the top right.
Yeah, he's playing to the top left corner, I think, Jay.
Is he? Yeah, he is.
He's overcut it.
He's missed it.
Yeah. Really overcut this ball and still didn't run into the 6.
SVB looking at a pretty thin cut here, but he'll take it. Opportunity to take the lead once again. And perfectly done there. Securing an angle to lead him right over to the 6 ball as well. Federer Gorst is yet to have the lead here in this match. Got a little much into the cue ball there. He definitely didn't want the cue ball to be that close to the rail. Nice recovery there from SVB. And another missed 10 ball, so they both have one under their belt here. Is SVB going to get away with it, though? It appears that Federer may have an opportunity to shoot it in the side.
And so that's 2 10 balls missed, one by each player.
Yeah, and that really started right there on the 7 ball, Scott. SVB just got a little bit much out of the cue ball, forcing him. He got straight in on the rail on the 8, which forced him to just slow roll it and take his medicine on the shot in the side for the 10. And all of a sudden it became missable. But does Federer have an opportunity to shoot this ball in the hole?
I actually got to look down the line. It's pretty straightforward. All he's got to do is cut it a fraction. Kind of a two-way. You're going to lay the cue ball right back on the rail, I believe, or maybe he just tries to cinch it. Just don't want to overhit this ball. Pockets will tighten up on you.
Knocks it down. Federer Gorst with his first lead of this match, claiming rack number 9, 5-4. Auto-generate this rack for Federer.
Yeah, so Federer misses the 10 in game number 3. And Shane gives it right back in game number 9. It's going to happen.
And can he make it hurt? That's the real key, Scott. Like, obviously you aren't going to see either one of these guys miss very many money balls. can Federer hold the table here and keep serve for a little bit and really make Shane pay?
Yeah, I'm still a believer, Jason, that this match is going to be a lot more of a grind than some people want to give it credit for. I just feel like the conditions and the tension between these two, and believe me, I think at times it's easy to over-try, right? And I think both of them want this more than we can realize.
Oh, both of them, absolutely. They would both give a finger or an arm to win this match.
There's no doubt.
I mean, you can see it. You can see it in SVB's eyes.
Yeah, they're serious, right? I noticed it last night at dinner. I got right off the plane. Michelle Griffin took us all to an amazing dinner. Shout out to her. But I noticed it right away. Obviously never touched on it. I tried to lighten the mood a couple times. Didn't go too well. You did too?
Oh, they're just horrible cue ball there from Federer.
Yeah, everything went awry.
Everything was poor there. Miss hit. You notice he got no pop on the cue ball. Real flat break. Lost the rock. Answered that question. Is Federer able to really punish Shane for a mistake? Unable to do so. Shane's lining up the 1-9 combo.
Yeah, is he concerned about the 1 finishing below the 5? He's got to cut it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine, but the 1 could finish a little bit below the 5 here if he overcuts the 1 a fraction too much.
Is he playing that?
Oh, he could catch it full.
There's the 3 going to sneak over on him. Look at the 2-10. Got a little goofy. Getting shaped back to the deuce here is no bargain. We are unsure of whether or not they're able to play the 2-10 and win the game, or if they keep playing it. We may learn this rack, though, Scott.
Yeah, I don't know if that's even come up with those two, but typically at this level, these guys will just spot the 10.
That would be my assumption as well. No early money balls. He was able to avoid the 5 there. What a shot.
Yeah, he's overamped it, though.
Does he stay offensive here, or does he decide to duck, Scott?
Well, this all depends on if the 10 spots up or not, right? If he can just go all out here, he might even be able to play the cue ball up behind the 3 or something like that. So it all depends on if the 10's a win. Because like Jason said, he's got a good safety. He could really bury him behind the 10. Doesn't want to let Federer back to the table, though, when you're staring down the barrel of a combination.
Looks like he's shooting. He's staying offensive here.
Well, if the 10 does count in a combination, he doesn't want to hang it up. That's for sure. And he's gone to the lockup. And he's really cut him off well there, Jason. Cut him off from the top side.
It's got to be a 2-rail kick here, right?
2 to 3 from the bottom end, I would assume, unless he can get past the 10. And he's acting like he can. Then he can use the 10 as cover.
So he's going to spin here off the long rail. Yeah. He didn't look at anything else, so he's pretty confident he has the ability to get past that 10 and spin into the deuce. And he's called the deuce in the bottom right.
Yeah, and that's in case he gets too much. He'd like to hit it a little thinner than that and use the 8 and 10 as cover. He's pretty confident in this rail biting quickly. Yeah, no rail yet.
Oh, didn't get a rail. We couldn't really see there. His body was in the way. So a big reward there for SVB with his safety play. Like you said, I think that tells us the 210 doesn't count. They're going to be spotting it up. I think he would have taken on the combo and tried to play the cue ball safe if the 210 counted.
Yeah, my concern was that he might have been worried about hanging it up and leaving Federer the 210. So I don't know if we're gonna know yet, but we will find out for you. Yeah, and this is pretty much a dream layout. A little movement in that back arm. I would say that Shane's a tick quicker than than Federer at the table. He's got a little bit more of a flow to him at times.
Yeah, I think that comes with experience.
I've always felt like Federer played better the quicker he played. I've seen him play some pretty quick pool, and man, when he does, he looks comfortable. He looks real good. I think he'll get to that point in this match.
I agree. I think we'll see him speed up.
He didn't want to end up here. He's going to be all right. Just a little funnier on the 8, unless he can get off the rail. Probably draw it back past the side or close to it.
Oh, another miss.
You've got to wonder.
That was missable, though, right? That was one of those weird straight in, but not straight in angles to where you don't want to, and you have to shoot it slow and you're close to the rail.
No, I agree, and I feel like on the 7, he could have drawn back a little bit further to assure that cue ball further off the rail. Just got to wonder if that ball turned a little bit.
Yeah, very, very easily could have. 6-4 is our score after 10 racks in favor of Federer Gorst. Generate a new rack for the guy.
Yeah, he didn't act like it turned. You see the motion with his cue there. Really, you can't get better equipment, Jason. The Aramith balls, they've been in business over 100 years. You cannot, well, they actually just came out with the 100th anniversary set. I think they sold out in a week's time. But I can tell you, even the CEO has to get permission to go into the factory. It is a high-kept secret, the resin they use and the process that they go through to develop this ball. It's often been duplicated or tried to been duplicated, but never, ever been done. Many companies have done it multiple times. There's a few companies that actually market their balls out of Belgium as we speak, and they're not made in Belgium, but I won't go there.
Welcome to pool.
Welcome to pool.
All right, here we go. Rack number 11, Federer Gorst to break. See if he can get a better result here. This last break wasn't very successful, Scott.
Better hit.
Yeah, and look at this. This one ball's going to dress up, or it's going to go down.
Yeah, he put a little bit more on that.
And nothing real offensive here, is there?
Not really. Yeah, I don't see much clean.
Walk us through the safety here.
He's got options. He can chip the 2 to the left side. He can send it up table towards the 8. I think that's where he's looking to put the cue ball. So that would be chipping the 2 to the left above the pink. Maybe down below the 10. Swinging the cue ball up one rail behind the 3. You know, at this level, it's tough to call the defensive play very often or call it correctly because these guys are at the table and really see all the intricacies. But that's what he's done. He's just overamped this as well. So the adrenaline's still probably pretty high, and I don't think he's going to like this, Jason. I think Federer could be welded to the back of the pink when this is all said and done.
Yeah, very easily. Float into position here to put him on the back of the 4. Is he even trying to do that, Scott, or is he just chipping it over under the 9 and taking the cue ball back?
Yeah, a lot of these guys like to do that. They've got a bigger They've got a bigger gap.
He's not going to
for
like
cover.
any of this.
No, that was a definite mishit. Yeah, Shane caught that ball way too thick, allowing the 2 to come out. I do believe Federer's going to try and use the pink.
It's pretty well done right there, Scott. Nice control. Pretty easy hit, but a containing safety nonetheless.
Yeah, Shane would like to use a high cue ball. Is he calling something in the lower left corner here?
So he's going to be trying to kick the bottom side of the 2 and bring the cue ball back underneath the pink, right?
Yeah, that's initially what I thought. With a high cue ball, you kind of stun the cue ball off the 2 or check it. Yeah, and you've got a lot of room for good things to happen here. Catch just below half of the 2. Oh, is he looking to roll the top side of it?
It's kind of open in space there if you go to the top side, right?
Yeah, and there's a miss hit as well. So that shortened up a lot more than he probably expected due to the humidity. Jason alluded to it earlier. There is an air duct directly above the table, so things will change often. I think it makes for more excitement.
It's one of the things I love about pool, Scott. I love seeing a player uncomfortable. There's nothing better than flipping somebody up on their head and seeing how they respond.
Yeah, I agree. You've got to make the conditions, and that's, you know, I'm going to mention them, the WNT and Matchroom. They're going to those 4-inch pockets, and I don't think people realize the level that these guys are playing at on those tables. You and I were talking about it last night. Just making the conditions, the rules, everything more difficult for these guys. All it's doing is raising the bar for these players globally. Shout out to Mickey Kraus, by the way, a new rising star, winner of the European Open last week. Nobody ever planned on that except him. And he's off to the races. That young man has a bright future, and that's what the WNT will do for you if you put the work in. Federer looking to me like he's getting a little bit better flow. In my opinion, Shane's looked more comfortable. The score doesn't tell that, but he has looked a little more comfortable.
I think what's Shane's missed 3 balls and Federer's missed 1. I believe, right? Federer missed only the 10 ball. Shane's missed the 4 ball in the same pocket as the 10. Shane missed the 8 and the 10.
I think that's correct.
Shane's missed 3 balls after 10 racks, and Federer's missed 1. The scoreline shows that.
It does show that. I'm talking, when you look at the body, though, Shane looks a little more comfortable to me. But this is Federer's style, right? He's a gritty player, very gritty player, and he can play different styles. He's said it in interviews. When he doesn't feel like he's pocketing the balls real clean, he can adjust his game and win other ways, which is very impressive.
One thing that was pretty cool, Scott, I'll tell you, in the interview, I don't know who interviewed, somebody interviewed him, right? And they said, ask him what he liked most about these matches. And he said, I just embrace the grind. I love the grind. I love the race to 120. Like, to be able to just lock horns with one of the best players ever for 240, potentially 240 racks. He wants that. He wants the grind.
He does want it, and I think he fed off of that in Saudi Arabia. I mean, this guy was down almost every match I watched him play, and I was right there for it. But he finds ways to win, and I think that's what fires Federer up, and that's why he is the star he is.
Both of these guys find a way to win. Absolutely, and it's unbelievable to watch in pool, and that's what I really like about pool. You can watch somebody practice, or you can watch somebody play in a match that doesn't mean anything. And then as soon as the pressure heats up, some of them find a way to lose.
Yeah, some of them find a way to lose, and some of them find a way to excel.
That's what's the difference in the
we're-
world class and you know, the next tier.
Well, and I just touched on Mickey Krause and what he did last week, right? He's been knocking on the door. Mickey Krause has all that ability, and he came through shining. He's put in a ton of work, and once again, if you put the work in, it's up to you. Get a chance, guys. If you get a chance, go to omegabilliards.com. Check out those Acme cases. I've had one for about 6 or 7 years. It still looks like it's brand new. Mike Hong does a lot for pool. He is the owner and operator. Also, check out tristatecues.com. They're selling products, aramith balls, cloth, cues, you name it. tristatecues.com.
The biggest lead we've seen so far.
7-4.
Federer sticking to the right side or the left side there as we look at it.
Yeah, and the one is tracking every single time to the right, top right corner.
See if he takes a little bit off though. His last break, Scott, he hit it, he amped up. Oh, he hit that a little square, more square. Did you see that?
Yeah, actually caught the right side of the one, or our right side. That's how the cue ball ended up that direction. 6 is going to cover, so he's going to have to play some type of defensive play here.
Tell you what, I didn't anticipate what we've seen after 11 racks, Scott. I really thought that they were going to be playing open, almost like bar table pool.
It just never seems to end up that way, though, right?
I mean, it did when Federer played the Luna. It has in almost every other match that SVB's playing 10 ball.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just
we're
feel
going to
like
get to that point. We're going to get to the point where it's playing wide open.
Yeah, I just feel like this match means a lot more, right? And it's a real factor that neither of these guys are going to deny, right? The tension is palpable. I think the attention to this match globally, with all the fans, I think it's a little different than Gorse versus DeLuna.
Yeah, that was a little lopsided, but man, they were playing on 4.5-inch pockets.
Yeah, and these are 4 1/4, but they don't play like it when you've
really
got
tight.
several hundred people in the room breathing on the table and an air vent above it.
What's the safety here, Scott?
I was wondering if he could go forward with the one and really play the cue ball under the green 6, but he's going to go this way, chip it, and maybe use the 8 and 2 and 5. Yeah, using the 8 and 2. Maybe elevate him on the 5.
This is pretty daggone good. That's a very nice shot right there. Good control of both the cue ball and the object ball.
Yeah, and actually this is very difficult. The 6 causing problems to go 2 rails behind the 1. So that makes things much more difficult because it's a big ball to come 2 rails, maybe to the 3rd rail behind the 1. But with the 6 there, that's not happening.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see SVB elevate here and really kick this ball hard, trying to shorten it up off the long rail in between the 7 and the long rail.
Yeah, I agree.
He's gonna try to bend the cue ball.
Problem is, if he catches the long half of the 1, he is going into the drink. Now he's looking at the 2 rail line. It's a bigger ball this way. If he can miss the 9.
I feel like it's a bigger ball, but a tougher hit. There's some of them you just gotta hit and hope.
He's really going to swerve this.
He's gonna spin in between the 310. What a freaking shot that was. If he'd have made that, this place may have erupted, Scott.
Yeah, they almost did anyway. It was a great hit. Put a lot into that cue ball. But here we go again. Gorst in control.
And really the safety play has been the difference so far.
Yeah, and we haven't actually seen the jump cue come up one time. Is
he's
the 8
overhit his
going to
mark
snooker
here.
him?
I'm really surprised.
He didn't put any right on that.
Yeah.
I thought he put right on it to make sure it got out to the center. He was comfortable with the speed and thought that he'd just get perfect. Well, he hit it too firm.
The good news for Federer is if he has the ability to make this jump shot and deposit it, he doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball. He can just let it set right there.
And I just said we haven't seen the jump cue. Here he goes.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah, and I think this is a factor in a race to 120. I think it's a big factor.
Oh, this is an awkward jump, though. I thought he had the ability to go from the long rail to jump. This is tough here, Scott.
And an opportunity for SVB. He's probably saying, finally.
That shows you right there how tight this table's playing, though, because he hit that pretty down. I mean, it hit the rail, but he hit it pretty good.
Yes, he did hit it pretty good.
And it didn't go. Kind of deserving, though.
And you got to expect Shane to take advantage of this. Out towards the center. But to your point, Jason, that ball did look like it was going to go, and it literally held up right at the last second. So his pocket's holding up well. Shane not thrilled with it. We're going to get another look at it. Yeah, and that's deep. It just caught that left point, which is the point you want it to catch at that speed, but it held it up. Shane not thrilled with this position, Jay. Kind of threw the bridge down a little bit.
He's going to recover here. It's an awkward reach for him. He's going back to the bridge. I mean, this may be tougher than what we think.
Yeah, I know him quite well. That body language is easy to read. Look at how he's holding this bridge.
Yeah, this is one of these you got to get so much into the cue ball here. You don't really want to shoot it like this. It makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah, it's easy, to your point, easy to decelerate here and actually just hit more of the center of the cue ball than any low. He's not comfortable with it.
And easy to miscue and maybe jump the white too. What a shot. Watch
Where's
out
it
corner,
going?
though. Watch out corner pocket. And they're not tight enough to hold that one up, Freezer.
And this is a result of lazy position on the 5, and Shane knows it. You know, he had a real good shot on the 4. He could have got anywhere he needed to be on the 5 and just kind of cinched the 4. And it's a shot he's never going to miss. So I've got to say he was a little bit lazy on the 4.
Yeah, and the big key
Or
there
the
is
3,
just unable to punish an error of Federer's.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, it's going to mean 2 racks here if Federer knocks these last 4 balls down. It's a 2-rack screw up, but could potentially be a lot more.
Yeah, it could potentially be a lot more. If you get Federer loose, which I didn't think would happen too early, I felt like Shane would have a lot of control in day 1. Big signs of frustration from Van Boning early. He didn't have to scratch, that's for sure. He actually hit it well.
He hit it really well. Maybe a little too good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think he was trying to prevent exactly what you were talking about. He did not want
to decelerate on the ball, right, and end up short.
He said, I'd rather get through this ball and go a couple extra rails and ensure that I'm getting a shot, right? And another look here at the shot.
And you got to wonder if that's going to come back to haunt him.
Federer leads 8-4 over SVB. We are racing to 40. If you're just now tuning in, we're racing to 40 today, 120 overall. First player to hit the mark of 40 today. We will stop, and we'll start tomorrow and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's looking like it's going to be a late one, though, Freezer. This is going to take some time.
Yeah, I think a lot of us knew that going in. It's just too much on the line for these guys to get extremely loose early. Watch the 1, track to the top right. Oh, he's got a kiss. It's going to end up beautiful for him.
Oh. 2 balls down. Got a nice look at the 1 ball here. Pretty good layout as well, Freezer.
Yeah, he's actually crossing the face of the 1. So the cue ball's coming to the right now a little bit versus where he was hitting it before was, in my opinion, a little bit more to the left, or our left, and now it's going to our right off the break.
I don't think it's purposeful, though.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Well, it's easy to scratch from there, right?
Sure.
If he's coming across like
Yes.
that. I think he's just mishit his last few breaks. Really hasn't broke the balls the way that he would like.
Yeah, and he's got more angle here than he would liked. The 4 does not play in the top right. You'll see the 8 in the way. Can he drag this and hold the cue ball? Or does he have to go towards it?
He's looking at potentially going into this ball here. But he definitely has the stroke here for to kill the cue ball. I don't think he has that much angle. I mean, obviously he's not where he wanted to be, but I'm kind of surprised that he's going into the ball. Oh, he went under it to play in the side. Nice shot, nice recovery. But is he on the wrong side of the 4 to get back up for the 5 here, Freezer?
Yeah, I think this is a lot thinner than we think. And he's got to put some speed on it to get back out for the 5 in the lower right.
Does he have to use a little inside English as well, making it a little bit more difficult?
Yeah, as I look at the table, in person it looks a little easier than it does on screen, believe it or not.
Does he just get through this ball with some high, or does he have to introduce some inside?
I think he's got to introduce a little right, just a little. Wow, look at that ball bounce.
He needs it to bounce again. He isn't going to like any of this, Scott. I'll guarantee it. Frozen to the rail. He's going to have to float this ball in and just take his medicine on the 7.
That rail was hot.
Hot to trot.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got the top angle where he can come 2 rails below the 10. He doesn't want to have to roll it. If he can avoid it.
Yeah, this is one of these situations where you can try to get through this ball, or you can just take your medicine.
Yeah.
If you're a Feder Gorse, I think you just make the 5 here. You just make the 5 ball. Not saying that's what he'll do. He could potentially power up and try to get through the ball, but I think it becomes a lot more missable.
Yeah, we saw early in game 1 or 2 where he tried to power the ball and it went awry on him. He's going to power this, it looks like.
He's going to power. He's jacking up, and he's going to punch around.
I think it lays pretty good to do it.
I didn't like it, though, and that's why the pocket just shrinks up, Freezer. The pocket shrinks up when you play it that way.
Well, just what the doctor ordered for SVB. Shane needs something like this to get him going. Seems like it's been all Gorst the last half hour. Shane over here asking for something.
He's asking for some scissors, I believe. Maybe he's got something in his glove he wants to cut out.
Yeah, nice stroke there. Never easy for these guys. He should be just fine due to the position where the 9 is. He can just bounce off the rail a little bit, come 1 rail over from the 8. Might go forward.
He got a lot out of that. Nice recovery. Landing straight on the 7. Right back where he wants to be, though.
He doesn't want a big bounce on this.
Still think that was an avoidable mistake there from Feder. Did he miss the ball?
That's why you didn't want a big bounce on that ball. I thought he would punch one rail and come towards the 9. He drew one rail over, caught the big bounce. The table's playing springy. You really want to be able to stop the 9 instead of have to come across the face of the 10. And that's what caused the miss.
Neither player looking very comfortable to me, Freezer.
No. It says a lot about the magnitude of the match.
And the conditions.
Absolutely.
I think the conditions are, a big factor in this. But also, the one thing that is obvious with both of these guys, if they start finding the break, they're going to play unbelievable. If either one of them finds the break, they're going to play unbelievable behind it. It's hard to get going if you don't have a shot.
They're going to take more control.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, there's people in the industry that are helping us out, doing a lot of good things. Aaron, Scotty, Glenn out of Oklahoma. Check them out, Aaron's Storm Shelters. In my opinion, in a lot of people's opinions, builds the best bunkers, the best vaults, tornado shelters, you name it. Reach out to him. Check his Facebook page out, Aaron's Storm Shelters on Facebook. This man started from nothing, and he's built an empire. He's great at what he does. Check him out, Aaron's Storm Shelters on Facebook. Yeah, and back to your point, Jason. I agree. That moment's got to happen to where they start to loosen up. I just don't see it coming anytime soon. I just don't. I don't see a lot of packages being run.
The time you're going to see it is when one of them finds the break. Absolutely. They're both tight right now, and I think obviously the magnitude of the match has a big part of it, but also neither one of them have broke the balls well. You'll see if Federer or Shane hits the break perfect the way that they want it, they're going to get loose. It's just who's first to do it.
That's the hit he's looking for. He's got
Watch
the
out,
7
cue
down.
ball. He's going to be perfect, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the kiss on the cue ball as well, but that's the hit that he's looking for. He didn't cross the face of the 1 that time.
And let's see here. Any trouble, Freezer?
I don't know, buddy. Can he get straight on the 2, or does he have to carry an angle? Like to get straight, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd like to. That's exactly where he's looking right now, what line he wants to be on.
Yeah, I just feel like you could lose a little bit here trying to get straight and see how good his control is and how he's feeling.
Yeah, he got a little much out of it.
Yeah, he's going to be okay, I believe, but now he's got to contend with the 5. I felt like he could lose that a little bit going that way instead of just taking the cut on the 2, staying below the 9, right?
Yeah, I mean the big key here is both of them have had trouble with the rails. So anytime they have to contact the rail, they're guessing right now.
That's exactly right.
Perfect
Yeah.
speed there.
I like the way he played it. Once again, though, and you just mentioned it, anytime you're contacting that rail, does he stay short of the 4 here? Or does he come over to the other side? Catch the gap of the 4 and 10.
The problem with that is if you contact it, does he try to go in between the 8-10?
I like that. I think that's probably the play if he can do it.
He may be a little too straight, though.
Yeah, he might have to come between the 4 and 10. Pretty good timing on that stroke. He's starting to look a little better, in my opinion. The delivery's really smoothed out. He looked quick early in that final backswing a few times. Even his tempo around the table is starting to look a little quicker.
Starting to speed up. Got some
Yeah.
chalk on his chin. He's ready to go.
Shane kind of slumped in his chair. Not a good sign. You don't want this really getting away from you early on day 1. Shane just got to regroup. He's done it a million times. what's one more?
I really like how the matches played out, though. I thought after I was watching both of the players practice yesterday breaking the balls, practice breaking the balls today, I thought the format was going to be a joke for these two. I thought it was just going to be an absolute.
Yeah, and you were mentioning that at dinner, and I thought the opposite. I really felt like it just seems like the tension with these two players, and I know how this table can play. I don't know. I felt like it was going to be more like it is, to be honest. But I think what you're talking about is inevitable as well. I think it will happen. I just don't know that we'll see it anytime soon. For sure tomorrow.
That was a nice hit right there.
Sure
nice speed
was.
control. Ten to 4 is the score after 14 racks. How many in a row is that, Scott? He was down. Federer was down 3 to 4, I believe.
Yeah, he was down 4 to 3. I think he was down more than that actually, but yeah, he was down 4 to 3.
He's at least won 7 in a row.
I mean, the scratch that Shane had in game 12 was it last game that he scratched with the bridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that could prove to be really devastating to Shane.
And he missed the 8-ball the rack before.
Yeah, and missed the 8 the rack before. I mean, he also missed the 10 in game number 9, I think it was.
I mean, this game could very easily, this match could very easily be the opposite, 10 to 4 in favor of SVB if he was cleaning the balls up the way that he normally does.
Yeah, and that's rotation pool, right? All those little variables. Gorst to break. That's the most square hit I think he's made.
Yeah, and protected the cue ball too. He's going to get a nasty kick and an undeserving kick there for a scratch.
Wow.
Did you see? I mean, it's
that
like it was stuck in mud, the cue ball, and it missed all of the traffic on the first go around.
Yeah, and it was that ball coming around on the 4-rail track that clips the cue ball straight into the left middle.
It just shows you how brutal this game is, Scott. You finally hit a good break. You finally do everything you want to do, and you catch that.
Well, that doesn't happen in one pocket, does it, Jason?
That does not.
That's just crazy. I mean, that definitely, without a doubt, was the best hit that Federer's made. Just a little unfortunate there, to say the least. This, too, is so deep that coming out of this corner is going to be tricky, in my opinion. Look at how deep that ball is. He's just going to draw up towards the 3, I assume, using the left long rail. Well, he made it look easy. Wants to get past this area here so he can just kind of draw down to the 6. So he's got to get a good line on the 4. Either stay where he's at, where he can draw 1 rail over and back down towards the 6, and that's what he's looking at now. Might be easier. Shane's great at that power stroke.
What a nice hit that was.
Yeah, but I feel like he let up on it, Jay.
Still a little short, right?
Yeah, I just feel like he let up on the stroke.
But it just looked a lot cleaner than what his last few hits have, when he's needed to move the cue ball. He's looked super tentative. And on that one, it came up a little short, but he got through the ball pretty well. He struck it pretty good. He can recover here.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think he's going to have a problem coming off the 10.
He's going to use contact with the 10 here. Watch outside pocket. Watch out 10 ball. Got away with it, I believe.
Wow.
A lot of things could have gone wrong right there, Freezer.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't give that a little bit more time to really figure out what the cue ball was doing off the 10. I kind of felt like the scratch was always a possibility.
That was a missable ball, too.
Boy, it just keeps getting tougher for SVB.
I think the 7 was tougher than this 8, though. Those are always tough at that angle when you have to roll the ball slow. He can hit this ball a little pace. He decided to roll it, too.
Wow.
What a shot.
Yeah, I think that tells you the way he played those last 2 balls. That tells you the way this table's playing, right?
Yeah. Normally you see him use a little power right
That's
there
right.
on that 8 ball.
Absolutely. So a much-needed win for Van Boning there. Brings him within 5 of Gorst, trailing 10 games to 5. I know Jason was talking about it. And will this be the point where Shane changes his break spot? I don't know. If you guys get a chance, go to the Facebook page, Deadwood Custom Cues. Bernal D'Artez. It's an affordable, custom handmade cue. He's a great guy, makes a great cue. He's out of Texas. Check him out, Deadwood Custom Cues. While you're at it, check out Railbirds TV when this match is over. We've got a lot of great matches. Filler versus Gorst, SVB versus Filler, Efren versus Filler, Gorst versus Paguline, Railbirds TV. So, Jason, I just alluded to your point. Is Shane going to change this break spot? And if not, what are the results?
I mean, it's been so long since we've seen him break. He may have forgotten about needing to.
Goodness gracious.
Look at this hit. He doesn't want the 1 to fall, though.
What a hit that was. You could hear that across the river.
Does he have the ability to cut across this ball rail first, Scott? That's the question. And will he come out with a shot on the deuce that's covered up by the 6? His best break of the match right there. Not even close.
Yeah, but to your point earlier, there's a lot of inconsistencies at play there. You'll notice these balls are all moving a lot more than what Fedder's are doing. It's almost like Fedder's in control of every single ball off the break. And Shane, well, he's in control of the cue ball and the 1, but what about everything else?
Does he have the ability to flick this thing in? I think based on his body language and based on the way that Fedder's looking at him, I think he does have the ability to go rail first here and flick it in. Does he end up with a shot on the deuce? That's the question.
I think
he's
can
looking
go
at the
straight
other
at
side.
it. Can he go straight at it, Jay?
I don't believe so. I think 3's got him covered up. It looks like it's out of the pocket a little bit, which makes this play kind of tough, I believe.
I think he can go straight at it, but to your point, he can go rail first and get position.
You may be right. He's gearing up like he can go straight at it, but he was looking at the short rail.
We're going to find out.
You're right, he has to play short side.
And it's landed real funny.
Yeah. Things not really going SVB's way early on here. Doubled up. Scoreline of 10-5. Does he take on the thin cut here, Scott, or does he choose to play a safety?
Boy, you don't want to duck. You don't want to play a defensive play being down 10 games to 5, but I think you've still got to play the table. There's a pretty straightforward defensive play here behind the 6 and 10. He's going to use the 8. This is what these guys do at that high level. Did he unfortunately find the gap again?
I think he hit the winder. That always makes you sick when you play, you know, a nice shot, good speed.
Yeah, that's
Just unfortunate.
yeah, it
you know.
is.
But I think that has a lot to do with the big bounce coming off these rails.
Yeah, and that's where I think Federer's, you know, got a pretty big advantage. He knows
Well,
how quick these rails can play.
He got a nasty bounce too.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Shane take the bank on the 2 to the lower left corner. If he misses it, he'd like to miss it short and use the 6 and 10 as cover. Oh, he's gone to the defensive side again.
And he's left an opening as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't bank at that. Maybe he was a little too straight to bank at it, meaning that if he missed it, he couldn't get safe. I thought there was kind of a two-way there. He'd never even entertained it. Does have Federer snookered.
Federer was looking at coming off the top of the 2 and using the 9 as cover here.
Oh, wow. He could see the top end of it, so definitely not going as planned for SVB so far.
Yeah, he's sizing up an offensive look here. SVB is known for doing this measuring system to go rail first in these situations. Is he going rail first to make it here, or is he looking for some separation, Scott?
Yeah, I was wondering if he's actually looking for the kick and stick, but you could be right. Did he just call the 2 in the lower left? I don't know this measuring system.
I mean, it doesn't have to carry position, right? Like from this angle, he could get snookered behind the 10.
Well, I think if he shoots it to play the 2, he's going to use like a low left ball. The cue ball is just going to straight cross over towards the 5 and spin out. But, boy, I feel like that's a huge risk, especially the way the table's playing. If he can kick and stick this ball, he could use the 10 and 6. He could definitely get separation.
I like the safety play as well here.
Yeah.
Looks like he's using a center ball.
Wow, he went for the make.
That was a sellout. Like you called it.
I
Complete
don't,
sellout.
I don't understand there.
That's what happens though when you're not playing well. The other guy's doubling you up, but he's not playing well either. You press a little bit, you start making decisions that you normally wouldn't make. If he was ahead 10-5, he's playing safe there, 100%.
Yeah, there's no question. He's not even questioning the option there. And typically he's not going to question that option anyway, the way this table's playing. Now, if he's playing on 4.5-inch pockets with brand new cloth under heated lights, yeah, I can understand going at that ball. But, yeah, under the circumstances, you can't allow the man at the table that's at the table now a free rack. You can't afford that. You're down 10 games to 5. You've got to make this kid work for it.
Yeah, and, you know, it's so tough to not play the score. It's just human nature in most of us. But in these long races, almost forget about the score. You know, forget about the score. Just play the game.
I agree, but the score is a real thing, right? Like and you're probably right. You don't want to play the score. You want to play what's right every single time, right? And thinking about it, to your point, I agree.
I mean, if you're playing a race
so
to 11.
irregardless, I think that shot's wrong.
Right, but if you're playing a race to 11, you play the score. You're playing a race to 120, you play the percentages, because every rack, if you play the right shot, you play the correct percentage, it adds up over 240
no doubt.
racks.
Just the wrong shot in general, and I think Shane would agree with that. But he wants to get something happening.
Just trying to just grab the table back
Right.
and be able to hold command of it.
Right.
And it's worth the risk to him
Yes.
to have the opportunity. And he had a good break. His last break was his best break, and so was Federer's last break.
Yeah, and I think that's where another bit of frustration lies sometimes when these guys break them perfect and get that kiss or get that snooker or not the perfect layout. It can carry forward with your decisions in the next couple innings.
It's amazing what the break does to your psyche.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, for these guys, for amateurs, I don't even know if they'll understand really the magnitude of it. But for these guys, and I don't even understand it to their level, but when they know they're breaking good or breaking better than the other guy, even if they're missing a lot more balls, they still feel like they're supposed to win. And that's how powerful the break is.
Such a skillful thing at this level. Just like that, 11-5 is the line. Favor of FG.
Yeah, and he really is looking a lot smoother, neither here nor there. It has nothing really to do, I think, with what Shane's doing. I think he's just getting more comfortable, Federer. But I do think, to your point, early in this match, Jason, you talked about it. You watched them both practice the break. I think Federer is happy with the way Shane's breaking the balls.
Oh, yeah, listen, and it's crazy for me, APA 6, to question what SVB's doing. I've watched a lot of 10 ball on the big table, on the 9-foot, and I've watched SVB break the balls a lot of times, and I've never seen him go from the rail.
Well, I said it last night at dinner. You managed me for several years. You don't have to be a great player to really understand what's going on, but you have to see it and understand it. You have to calculate it. You're great at that. I don't know anybody that can handicap a game or match a game up that's better than you at the level that you play. I'm just being honest. And it all has to do with really seeing what's happening and calculating in your mind the results, and you're great at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just I've watched SVB on a bar table break from the middle, not even use the short rail. Nice hit there. Look at the 5 ball. See how the one's just creeping up table, Scott?
That's what he's looking for.
That's the hit he's looking for. That's the hit he's looking for.
We
right
had
there.
a look at it last time, and he got kissed in the side.
Right. But keeping the cue ball clean on the first pass of the balls that are traveling 4 rails and not having balls collide as they come around, that's when you know the player has the proper timing in their arm. Everything you give everything a chance to go. The 2 back corner balls can come around 4 rails. They're not colliding in the middle. The timing of the break.
That's
balls
where
are
this
coming
magic
out
rack.
smooth.
That's where the magic rack is a real factor. Because they're going to do the same thing just about every single time. Even though they're random racking, the one still has to be racked up top. Right? So we're seeing a completely different dynamic between the two of them. Shane with the power, Gorst with the control. So far, the control is winning.
Yeah, and it's, I'll tell you, we'll be able to see when both of the players get the timing of the breakdown. It's not so much about depositing the balls in the side. It's really about the collisions in the middle of the table and avoiding that. You're going to see Federer have the ability to do that, like you said, control all the balls, where Shane is going to get more collisions, but he's also going to make balls as a result of them kissing in the middle and going in the side and different things going down. It'll be interesting to see. We know SVB is going to find his break, Scott. There's no doubt about it. He will find the break.
Yeah, and when he does, it looks absolutely amazing, right? It's the most devastating break on the planet. I just don't know with these new age players, especially in this format, if that's enough. Does consistency win in the long run, or does power?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of different formats of 10 ball, 9 ball. Obviously, you've lived through it. You've seen so many different variations of 9 ball and 10 ball, and where do you rack the balls, and what kind of rack do you use, and what's the, just the format of the overall game. And we've seen, the 9 ball, the 9 get on the spot with the break box, no break box.
Yeah, they're going to figure it out
shrinking.
regardless.
The players figure out the break, and if there are any players in the world that have mastered the template 10 ball break, it's these two.
Absolutely, and once again, I'll go back to it. I think that's where Matchroom shines, right? The real adjustment in making life difficult for these guys is the pockets, and I think that's what you have to do, right? You aren't going to beat these guys on the break. They're going to figure it out.
Well,
They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure the break out. I don't care what game it is.
Doesn't matter.
So you've got to adjust the equipment. Matchroom going to 4-inch pockets. Let me tell you, it's fascinating to watch these guys play on that type of equipment.
A nice hit there, Scott. Is he going to be elevated, though? Is his bridge going to be a little awkward here over the 7? Or is he going to have the ability to get right in there?
Yeah, I don't think it's a big factor. He can just come back a foot.
Oh, he's elevated.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
It just becomes missable is my point. Like those small percentages, even if it's if it adds a 0.5% to the difficulty of the shot over 240 racks, that stuff adds up. Obviously, most of the time these two are going to recover and they're going to make the balls, but they turn a ball that's not even close to missable into something that is at least has a chance. Oh my Lord!
Well, you got him. You got him, Jay Diddy, talking about the missable. Well, that one was missable.
Absolutely was.
And, well, if Shane ever wished for an opportunity, he can't get a better one than this. One ball at a time. Get this 7 down. He's got to put a pinch of right on it, I believe, to dive to this bottom rail. Oh, he stayed really clean through that stroke. He wants to avoid elevation here. Yeah, he'll be fine. He stayed clean through that stroke, Jason. That's what he needs. He needs to get out here.
Sweet little bump at the end.
Yeah, I think if he misses the 10, he might even be a little better, but maybe not.
Eleven to 6 is the line. SVB capturing rack 17. SVB sticking with breaking off the rail. Rack number 18, tons of power there from SVB. Big bounce on the cue ball. Is he going to get a look at the 1 though? Does have an opportunity to bank the 1, but nothing easy. And you notice there, a big eye roll from SVB. Nice clean hit on the break and no reward. See. That's not at all what he wanted. SVB wanted to get underneath of those balls for some cover. Both players struggling mightily with the rails. Conditions are very, very tough here. Federer calling the side pocket with the 1. He's going to try to play this 1 ball, 2 rails underneath the 3-5. And he made it. Well, you got the cue ball behind the 9 too there. So that was a definite two-way shot. I didn't see the 9 coming in play. What a shot there by Gorst. He wasn't playing the 1 ball under the 3-5 at all. He was playing the cue ball under the 9. So he had the ability to bounce back from an error in his last rack. Time will tell. Looking good so far. Really, this is going to be all about the 4 to the 5. Yeah, it looks like Federer's just going to come out to the middle of the table, making sure he gets past the 8 ball. Got a perfect angle here to do it. Nice shot there. See a nice draw stroke here for 1 rail position. Handled perfectly there. Freezer's back with me.
Yeah, and it looks like the same old song and dance. What's
Well,
happened
I'll tell
here?
you what, an unbelievable shot from Federer at the beginning of the rack here. He had a shot on the 1 ball, calls the side pocket and gets safe if he didn't make it, and he made the bank, which giving him the opportunity to run some balls here.
Wow. This cue ball is going to spring pretty good, and it did.
Doesn't want to be dead straight, wants to have the ability to get off that rail.
Yeah, and his timing is really looking a lot better.
Got a message from Federer, though. He's not feeling good, and he says the conditions are worse than the Philippines right now.
That's pretty comical, and my first reaction is that, and I think everybody at home, it doesn't look like he's feeling too bad.
Well,
he's about to take a 12-6 lead.
but you know, it doesn't mean that he's feeling great. His opponent isn't doing what he's supposed to do either.
His opponent probably isn't feeling too good right now either.
That's that's exactly what I said to him.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, and I know you're going to get a little bit tired of this, but I came up with a way to get paid to where Kyle doesn't have to eat the cost. Kyle Ferguson, bless his heart, he's the owner of the pool room, and that's why I'm naming some of these great sponsors. I've got some sponsors that I've named off, and so that's how I'm getting paid. And if you get a chance, support the industry, at least check it out. OmegaBilliards.com, obviously Aramith and Simonis. best in the business. KT Custom Cues or KT Customs on Facebook. TriStateCues.com. Aaron's Storm Shelters on Facebook. Deadwood Customs on Facebook. Deadwood Custom Cues. And then go to Railbirds TV on YouTube. Check it out. There's an array of great matches on YouTube that I've commentated and several others.
12-6. FG to break. Sticking with the same spot here.
Yeah, and you got to wonder when Shane will consider going to this break. We know he knows it. But I don't think Shane can hit him. Well, he's popped him real good. He crossed the 1 again, but he's going to end up okay, I think.
If the 4 cooperates.
Wow. If the 2 has him eclipsed just a fraction, we know he will use the jump cue.
I believe he has the full ball here, though, Scott. I think he can shoot this one straight into the hole.
He's taking a close look. If he does have to jump it, it's minimal.
He's going back for the short cue, you're right.
I would put him at about a 95% favorite to make this. All he's really got to do is stop if he's straight. But maybe it's more difficult than we think with the time he's taking.
Well, not only that, with the 1 ball as far away as it is, and it's so close to the pocket, it could come flying off the table here. It's not a nice shot, like a dagger.
Yeah, he's not thrilled with it, though. He wanted to stop. He caught it a little thin.
Well, he's on the wrong side of the 2. So what does he do here? Does he duck?
Yeah, and that's all the difference there. He wanted to stop the cue ball.
Do we see a safety here?
Well, with the position of the 5, it doesn't play past the 8. There's nothing wrong with it, but he could play the 2 and then bank the 3 to the right middle if he wanted. Depends on how he's feeling. There's nothing wrong with the safety, Jason.
I love a safety here.
He could nip him up real good behind the 3 if he'd like.
He's frozen to the rail. 5 doesn't go past the 8.
Could even shoot the 2 towards the 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call, Jason, and I think that's probably the right play.
Absolutely, it's the right play. There's just no future in any shot there, and it's not guaranteed that you make the shot, number 1.
Or the next shot, so.
Right, and even if you do, you still have to have a nice plan for the 5.
Wow, Shane coming to the top rail at this 2. I thought he might go to the left long rail right there behind the 3 to ensure a better hit. So he can get separation here. He's looking for cover. He did call the 8.
Nice solid hit there. He's not going to love it, though.
No, it's a little unlucky. He didn't leave anything straightforward, but it was a great hit. Well, he can butter him up onto the 6 here if he'd like, but
yeah, you got to be a little careful with that 8 ball where it's at. It could play as a backboard for the deuce if you leave it easy kick.
no, I absolutely agree. He might choose distance and going up table behind the 3 and 5 somehow.
I wouldn't be mad at him. Oh, he just went ahead and he's going to sell out here. He's going to give him an easy look at the ball. It shows you how tough the conditions are, Scott, though, because they've both had some pretty easy safeties and missed by a wide margin.
Yeah, what I noticed there, though, when he got down on the ball, he was really quick. Really quick. Typically he'll take 3 or 4 good strokes. He just got down and 2-stroked that ball.
Yeah.
A nice touch.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I think he may have the edge here.
I don't believe so.
We'll probably see a soft kick back here, 1 rail, right?
Yeah. Not much can go wrong doing that.
Other than not hitting the ball.
Yeah, but if he does make a good hit, it's going to be a pretty good result, I think.
I don't think we're going to see speed. Well, this is harder than what I thought he was going to
Me too.
He's going to get a double kiss and be okay, but
Pretty fortunate.
I'm still very surprised that he didn't just kind of slow roll that ball to the kick.
Yeah, at the speed he hit that, Jason, it could have been a lot worse.
Especially if he hits the top side of that, he's selling straight out.
I don't think you want to overthink this situation. You just chip the 2 and use the 7.
That's what he's doing.
You really actually got to clip this pretty thin.
I was going to say, this is an easy ball to double kiss right here.
Yes, it is. You know, do you chip the 2 over towards the center more and go down into the wedge spot between the 8 and the left long rail? Does 2 things at once there. It opens the 5 up and you get cover, right? I don't think you're going to scratch if you go down between the rail and the 8. So now you open the 5 up and you get cover, and I think that's what he's looking at now.
I think if you look at, I think the 5 goes.
I don't think it passes the 8.
It's tight.
Okay, this is weak. This is weak. Federer will be able to rail first at worst. And maybe it does go, Jason. On the overhead, it looks a little better. Talking about the 5.
All right, walk us through this, Scott. What's he trying to accomplish with the rail first here on the deuce? Is he trying to utilize the 4 for cover?
Yeah, I think that's what he would like. If he doesn't get him behind the 4, he might not like it. So you really just can't go wrong catching it thin. I guess you might be able to scratch in the top right if you catch it too thin. Really taking some time here. But with the position of the 8, I just don't feel like you've got a lot of risk here selling out.
Yeah, he's going to be doubled up any kind of way. Really, like you said, try to get some distance here. Hit the deuce thin so it doesn't move a lot.
He caught it a lot thicker than I expected, and a little shake of the head there. Caught it thicker than he expected.
You know, but still, I mean, for as bad as he hit it, didn't turn out the worst.
No, not at all. And actually, tricky position here.
Yeah, that 5 being there limits Shane's options defensively. Yeah.
Well, if he hasn't left it, he's left it, if that makes any sense. Federer can use the jump cue. So both those balls come off a fraction hotter than I think Shane expected. Cue ball and the 2 ball.
We're going airborne. Is he going to get fortunate here, Scott? No, he's not.
Yeah, and I figured, you know, I've said it. I figured there's probably going to be about 10 games that benefit Federer with the jump cue. And I know he won 1 game when he jumped the 1 in. I don't know that that really matters. No, that's still this game. So no games really have come in play with the jump cue yet.
Yeah, this is a tester here, though, Scott. After a lot of moving in this rack, now you're faced with a long straight in.
Yeah, and he's actually got to go forward, I think. That's what he's shaking his head for. He's just kind of like in that 50-yard line where he doesn't really have the line to punch over above the 4 and out. So he's got to go forward with a high inside ball.
This is tough. You can see this one coming out 2 rails.
Yeah, he's got to put a real good strike on this.
Oh, what a hit. What a shot. And he didn't end up with the inside English. He just leveled out and hit just straight high. I like that play. I think it was smart.
Agreed, Jason. I think we could all learn something from that shot, right? Take a little bit of the English off and ensure the make.
Take a tougher shot on the 3.
Right. Almost the same scenario here, right? Where you could just come across. If you want to ensure the make, he'll probably put something on it, but
probably just a touch of outside here. He might play the 4 in the same pocket.
another clean hit.
Wow. That's perfect there.
Yeah, and I guess the 5 does play.
I mean, even if it doesn't, he could play short side where he's at, right?
Yeah, we're going to find out.
I think it goes, though. Nope. Played short side. Landed on the perfect line on the 4 to get to the 5. What a
Yes.
shot there.
Yes, he did.
Nice control from SVB.
Once again, a little sign of negativity from Shane as he looked at the line, but I don't think you have to do much with this.
Just pull it back a few inches, right?
Yeah, I don't even know that he needs to pull it back much at all. He doesn't want to get straight on the 6. Yeah,
Nice shot there.
well done.
SVB starting to rev the arm up, Freezer.
Yeah, you can see it. Oh, and I like what he did there as well. I thought he would consider coming 2 rails out. He elected to do what he did with the long shot up above as well and just kept a flat top ball. I think that's probably the right way to play this on this table. And there are some SVB fans in the building.
Heard a little clap after that combo. 2 balls away from cutting it to a 5-game deficit.
And I think he's getting a little more comfortable with the rails.
Well, personally, I think both players are pretty fortunate to be where they're at right now. I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah, at the top of the world.
Well, at the top of the world, but in the match, like if you're Shane, you know, you've played pretty poorly. You haven't broke great, and you're only down 5 racks, and you're getting a break right here. If you're Federer, you haven't played great, you haven't broke well, and you're up 5. Both guys should be okay with where they're at right here. It could be a lot different scoreline if one of the guys were playing their A game.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
You know.
Yeah, we're racing to 120. It's obviously no time to panic for either of them. Neither of them are playing perfect, but I do think that we're going to see these kind of scruffy, scratchy games in the interim,
Yeah.
just because of the way everything's played out. But I really think that it's in Shane's best interest to consider changing his break spot.
Oh,
But that's not going to happen.
I'm not going to say I was the first to say it.
But you were the first to say it, and I do think it'll happen at some point during the match.
Ton of power there. Nice hit. That's his best break of the match right there. And he's going to get a fortunate kick on the 1. Give himself an opportunity to get going here, Scott.
Yeah, and he's got so much power. He can do a lot of damage quick. He could even the scoreline up in no time with that break, and that's why he continues to do it, obviously. I just think that there's going to be some inadvertent kisses and possible inconsistencies with position. A lot of kisses there. The 1 ended up in the center of the table versus up in the top right corner. Cue ball was beautiful. Timing was great.
It's a little thin here.
Yeah.
Does he have the ability to shoot it in the corner and come 3 rails for position?
Yeah, it's hard to do under the circumstances.
This looks pretty thin here and tough to judge.
Yeah, I think he might be. I think he can miss the 5 and look to come 3 rails maybe. Let's see what he's thinking. Yeah, 3 rails, but boy, look at that shorten up. He was way off the mark as far as what he thought the cue ball was going to do, right, Jason? I can assure you he didn't think he was going to get somewhere where he is. Otherwise, he wouldn't have shot it.
A pretty tough angle here. SVB really needs to knock this one down for his confidence. Feels like that point in the match where he could really get going here, Scott.
Yeah, like you said, he needs to knock this down. He knows it. That's why he's taking a little more time. Not just knock it down. Where's the cue ball going? Does he take a chance and go into the pink?
I mean, what's the other option? Just using a little bit of right-hand English and hitting it smooth and soft and basically taking the same shot on the 4? Because you can't really go 2 rails at it because those 6 and 8 are tough, right? If you go below the side. I mean, unless you go all out and hit it really firm. Going into the 4 is not the worst option here, Scott. And he did just that.
Yeah, he took a chance, and I don't think it's going to pay off.
I'm surprised to see him hit it that firm. He just wanted to make sure he knocked the ball down, I think.
Yeah, it's just another sign of not fully comfortable. Because he could have smoothed that ball in and held the cue ball on the underside or the top side somehow. It was steep. He wanted to ensure the make. He took a gamble, and it didn't pay off.
Can he recover, though? He has the potential for a kick safe here. And it's going to sell the farm, I think. May have just got the snooker here, Scott.
Yeah, he got that a lot thinner than he expected. He wanted to catch the full side of the ball.
He gave Federer a nice little smirk, and Federer gave him a nice little smirk back.
And this is Pool.
Can he swerve or can he jump? Or is he going to be forced to kick? I think he's going to be forced to kick. He's going to the jump cue. I mean, this is insane right here. Look how close this is.
Yeah, he's just jumping an edge, though. He's not jumping the whole ball. And the only real problem is the 7, in my opinion. I think he clears the 5.
Yeah, but where's the future, even if you do? Yeah, pretty fortunate there if you're Federer Gorst. If you miss the ball, that's one of the best places to miss it right there.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I think Shane takes a cut at this. I would be surprised if he doesn't cut at this to the top left. Just because the cue ball's tracking down here somewhere around the 5.
That's what he was just waving his fingers back and forth.
But he's made a couple decisions that have kind of surprised me. He's the one at the table. He's the 5-time U.S. Open champion.
Does he play the cross-corner bank here and drag the cue ball in between the 8-6?
Yeah, he's looking at the cut. I can't blame him.
Golly, that's a steep cut.
Well, he's close enough to the ball where it's pretty gaugeable. These guys are so good at this.
Cue ball's coming hot here. I mean, what a shot. What a shot this is. He's not going to get rewarded again.
Yeah, things just not going his way yet. That will change, right?
That very easily comes off that rail and bumps the 7 and leaves him straight in, right?
Yeah, and that was so thin, you really can't predict exactly where this cue ball is going to finish. So not necessarily lucky for Shane in any way, shape, or form. He's going at the jump. Shane, well, he can jump too. He came with a jump shot last week at the European Open. It was special. this is going to finish just perfect for Gorst.
And I think this is the 20th rack, Freezer. I believe we're going to be cleaning the balls after this rack. Both players agreed to clean the balls after 20 racks. And I don't think either one of them are going to disagree that they need cleaned right now.
No, and I think it's a good time for everybody to take a couple seconds and regroup. Yeah, I mean, he barely hit that ball, and that cue ball just continued to travel. These rails playing real sharp, which can work in your favor if you start to dial in.
Has a nice angle here. Get back up to the 8 ball.
Yeah, does he just come out towards the center of the table with a high outside ball?
He's been playing to the side pocket a lot today. I don't know if it's because he's uncomfortable, but he did the same here.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Most players will avoid the side pockets on a shot like that, just come to the center of the table. Federer has gone out of his way to play to the side a few times.
Which, you know, what that tells me, Scott, is he's trying to avoid using the rails at all costs, right? So when he plays to the side pocket, it gives him the ability to do what he just did right there, which is float into position without
But he
contacting
used the
the
rail more the shot before.
Right, but he had a huge zone to
Sure,
get to.
I get it.
To
I
get
get
back
it.
down to the 10
Absolutely.
from the 9.
Yeah.
So if he overran his mark a little bit there, it doesn't matter. Just like that, 13-7 is our line. I believe we are going to be cleaning balls, but we'll see. Federer's grabbing them.
Yeah, so while we
take a
get
quick
that
break.
chance, I want to shout out Allison and Wayne Berry again. A couple great people in the pool world. Say hello to them. OmegaBilliards.com. Get a chance. Order yourself an Acme custom case. And while we're at it, Aramith Simonis, in my opinion, the longest running, most established products in the industry. They are second to none. Shout out to my cue maker, Ken Thyman, KT Custom Cues on Facebook. Check him out. He only makes about 10 cues a year, but they're prevalent throughout the West Coast since I brought him out there. Players all over the country playing with the KT Customs. Vincent Parsons, TriStateCues.com. Go check it out. He's got all sorts of products, cue gloves, chalk, Aramith balls, brake cues, jump cues, you name it, TriStateCues.com. My man, Aaron Scotty Glenn with Aaron's Storm Shelters on Facebook. Once again, guys, he is arguably the #1 tornado shelter builder on the planet. Builds bunkers.
This is Jason Sword joined by Scott Frost. This is a race to 120 overall, going to 40 today. 6 o'clock start time tomorrow and Saturday, Eastern Standard. See how Feder feels here. Nice shiny balls. Does it change the way he breaks them? And didn't hit him square at all. I think he's going to like the result as long as the 9-ball doesn't get in the way, and it does. We'll see if he goes to the offensive jump shot here. It may be too far out in the middle for him to get to reach. The good news is if he does go offensive and he is able to deposit the 1, the cue ball is going to be tracking to give himself shape on the 3.
And we're back.
Yeah, on a big air there from Feder Gorst. He got snookered at the last moment with the 9-ball off the break. Decided to roll out and rolled out and left Shane a shot. He was trying to push all the way up to the corner to force Shane to have to kick or allow himself to kick and try to play for safe. Very fortunate that Shane didn't.
All right, he's got to shoot this cross side. He has to stay aggressive here.
Oh, no.
Well,
It looked like he was going to get snookered behind the 10 there.
yeah, but still nothing easy. 5 getting nudged in there, kind of behind the 8. So now he's got to get up table.
You just play for the middle of the table here. Guarantee yourself a look.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I actually, not by intention, crossed paths with Feder on the way to the restroom. You are right. He stated, and he volunteered this information. He just kind of grabbed my attention. He said this table is by far playing bouncier than any table he's ever played on in his entire life, and that includes anywhere in the Philippines.
I told you, and the reason why I knew it was not that he messaged me saying how tough it was. It was the easy safety positions that they both missed by a wide margin.
Yes.
That they never miss. See, you're right. Shane's in a tricky position here. Does he go up and down, or is he trying to draw into position here?
He's going to go rail first. Yeah. I'm surprised he made that last-minute decision. He's got such a good margin to get up in the center of the table there. If you catch either of those balls, you could go into the drink.
Not get a shot.
Yeah, and if you hit that too hard, then the 10's in play. Like if you wrap around and hit it too hard, then you could get snookered by the 10. Really surprised. That was a quick decision.
So a big air by Feder Gorst on the push out after the break. And once again, SVB unable to punish the mistake of young Feder Gorst. It's really been the storyline of this match so far, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, and in both of their defenses, and Gorst admitted it. He said, the way the table's playing, and I'm positive neither one predicted it, because it's not fun to play on extremely wet equipment. It can be very, very treacherous. But Gorst, said, obviously it favors me a little bit, but he doesn't want the table playing like that. My whole point to that is I think that's why we're seeing these errors. There's just such a wide gap for errors when you're dealing with such a quick rail.
Well, I mean, neither one of these guys like to guess, right? They're both
Right.
perfectionists. They both work a ton on their game. Neither one of them want to be guessing what the cue ball is going to do off of the rail. And I think in a lot of these situations, both of them are left guessing. And when they lose that certainty that they're used to playing with, become extremely uncomfortable, and they start changing their style. So now they're playing position in different ways than what they're used to or accustomed to. And that's what we're seeing right now, Scott.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. They don't want to guess. They're precision players. Now you bring that margin of error in where the ball just reacts a little awkward at times. It'll make you tentative.
Start second guessing every decision, start second guessing your stroke, and then you make quick decisions, you make the wrong decisions, and just starts compounding over and over. And it's easy to it's not easy to get out of that. It's so tough.
Yeah, it's easy to stay in it, in that mode.
Man, 14-7. Federgorst doubling up SVB after 21 racks.
Yeah, and the rack generator's pretty cool, right? You got the 1 up top, the 4-5 behind it, the 9-10-8, the 2-7, 6 and 3. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool little tool. I really wish that the ability to just rely on great sportsmanship would prevent pattern racking, but history has proven that it won't. And
I
not,
agree.
not between these two.
No, I agree. I think it's headed more that direction with what Matchroom and WNT and these players all over the globe are doing. I think it's headed more that way. It's definitely gotten so much better than it was back in the day. But there's just not enough money in pool yet, and these guys are all trying to find edges.
Rack 22, Federgorst to break. And a big pop there. Can he get a shot on the 1, or is the 6 going to come up and bother him? That's continuing to happen to Feder. And the jump cue may come out here, but how do you get shape on the 3, Scott?
Well, if there's anybody capable of it, we've seen it time and time again with this young man. But gosh, I don't know if his reach is a little awkward. But I will say, I think that's about as hard as we've seen him hit the balls. What a great contact he made. Look at the cue ball. I mean, it is dead in line with the center spot on the bottom and top rail.
Like it was stuck in sand, but once again, the same ball sneaking up and preventing him from having a straight-in look at the 1. See if he changes the pace of his break a little bit, Scott. I think we'll see him maybe take a little bit off next time to try to prevent that.
Yeah, he started out hitting them pretty easy. Yeah, he's going for this.
Is he just going to try to hit it full and draw it here? Or is he going to try to shoot it to the left side of the pocket?
He's going to use he's just trying to cinch it. And
that's smart.
That was clever.
That was a smart shot right there, because he has a window. He can stay offensive. He can play defensive here. He has options.
And even that's a scenario where the jump cue, you could count it as a win. If he plays a defensive shot here and gains an opportunity to win the game, then the jump cue is a factor. And I think we'll see at least 10 of those games throughout this match.
So what do you like here? Do you like playing safe, or do you like staying offensive and maybe trying to collide with the 10?
I think he's got to play safe. I think that's what he'll elect to do. Maybe use the 9 and 10.
Does just that.
And he found the gap.
Once again, speed control way off. Not way off, but off.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously just very difficult to control the speed of these balls. both the object ball and the cue ball with the way these rails are acting. Because these guys are typically not off by that much, and Jason touched on it earlier. Their defensive play has been pretty haphazard, but I think it's all due to the conditions. And yes, these guys can adjust, but you can't really adjust comfortably, especially when the rails are playing inconsistent. One shot, the rail springs this much. The next shot, the rail springs less. So you begin, like Jason touched on, guessing. When that happens, everything starts to get awkward.
What kind of safety play do you see here, Scott?
Can you see the whole bottom edge of the 3? If you can, can you chip the 3 towards the 8 and use the 10? Or do you chip the top side of the 3 and try and chip it like down toward below the 10 and 9 and send the cue ball up behind the 6?
I like that shot. That's the one I like. It gives you a couple opportunities for the snooker, even if you don't get the 3 exactly where you want it. If you get the cue ball behind the 6.
You get the sense he wants to stay aggressive. I don't believe that there's an option there.
Is he banking it cross corner? No way.
Yeah, this was a nice decision, but once again, the gap.
The window is staying open in this match. Both safety plays.
Yeah, it's crazy how many times they've caught the window. And that'll just tell you, it goes to show that the equipment is very challenging at the moment. I think it's a good thing for us. It's just torture for them.
We're going to see a lot of pull, that's for sure. Is Federer trying to go in behind the 7 here?
Yeah, I like it. I think he's chipping the 3 to the left. Oh, he's caught it way thicker than he expected. 7 going to help him? Yeah, he caught a lot more ball than he anticipated.
Tough to blame the table on that one, other than maybe the deflection of the moisture on the table, maybe. But
yeah, he just caught the thick side of the 3.
But once again, things just not really falling in place for SVB. A mistake there from Federer, and not a big opportunity for SVB to capitalize here.
No, it's well noted.
Can play a nice safety behind the 7 potentially.
Yeah, and I think he's got to keep that mindset, right? Just grind. It's still that mindset of one ball at a time. Still very, very early.
Just so frustrating.
Match.
It is so frustrating when your opponent makes a mistake like that and you don't have the ability to do something offensive and you got to play a safe back. It's just a very frustrating thing to be facing, especially